Alrighty, welcome to episode 121 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Photo leaked to the Tesla YouTuber Kim Java reveals the chassis of the soon-to-be manufactured Cybertruck. The apparently complete chassis features a large rear casting which is likely to have been produced as a test casting of the IDRA 9,000-ton Gigapress. And that was this week's news. Well, at least that was the only.
Unlikely one complete pressing. Sandy Munro said it was at least 4 bits that have been welded together.
Oh, yes. So I'm pretty sure in the script I referred to the back part, so you could see. I can't bring it up this very minute, but
he actually pointed to 4 different areas on that back part and said that's a lost foam casting, and those 4 areas, and they're welded together.
Yes, because
I know other people have been saying it's been, one big massive press, but Sandy says he doesn't think they've got the big 9,000-ton Gigapress there yet, and certainly not operational.
Okay, cool. Because I inferred perhaps maybe it was some sample parts that they might have done when they first assembled the press in Italy, but I could stand or sit to be very corrected. The image is right here. I'll bring it up in 2 seconds. Oh, here we go. All right, so hopefully screen share will work. Oh, get this crisp out of the way. Can everyone see that? I think you can.
Yep.
Yeah, so in fact, you can actually see, if you look in the lower left-hand corner, there's actually a MIG or TIG welding apparatus with gas. So it's got the big fat cable, and there's someone there, and I think someone laying under doing welding. So you're dead right, Nigel. But these are the cast items, obviously. So you're saying that they're in pieces. So that this might be one piece.
Yeah.
That's
what
another
Sandy
piece.
was saying was, you see that bit which has got a 90-degree bend in it in the top left, and then the same over on the top right. That has been a lossy foam casting.
Gotcha.
Do you know what that is? And then another 2 pieces, those sort of 2 big upright pieces, are another one, and then all those 4 have been welded together.
You see here that at first I wasn't sure whether that was just stamped, but that looks like a casting because you've got this rib formation. So you can see the ribs there and there. So yeah, cool. So okay, well, I stand corrected in the news, that one whole item.
That's what Sandy thinks, and I mean, he's pretty with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he isn't too sure either. I know a lot of people have been saying, "Oh, it's a giga casting; it's one massive piece."
No,
but no one's got any proof of anything.
Am I? Yeah, I'm on now, aren't I? Yes. Sorry. So can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
All good.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So welcome everyone. Now, if there's anyone new, please do say hello.
Yeah, that's me. Hello, everyone.
G'day,
Hello.
Mr. Sue Chapman.
Yeah. Hey, my name's Steve. It's my wife,
Steve.
Zoom. Look,
No worries.
I'm a new Tesla owner, and I just have, when it's my turn, I have a question for you.
Oh, look. Okay. Yeah, no worries. We'll come straight back to you if there's no one else that says hello, but anyone else who is new, please do say hello if you're comfortable in doing so.
Hi, I'm Anna.
Hi, Anna.
Just brought a new standard Model 3.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you. We love it. And we also have a question for you that's probably a common one.
Oh, no worries. Well, welcome in any case. And let's just try for a trifecta.
And the guy in the background isn't a statue, it's George.
Hi, George.
Okay.
Welcome as well.
Yeah, I'm almost converted actually. I thought I was a bit of a petrol head till I had a ride in the Tesla. Very impressive.
Funny that there's lots of petrol heads that have been well and truly irrevocably converted. but welcome. Okay, let's try for the trifecta. Is there a third person that might want to say hello tonight?
G'day, Harold. My name's Matt.
G'day, Matt.
I've been hiding in the background, actually watching the YouTube videos for about 6 months. I picked up my Model 3, would have been, I think it was August. But it's the first opportunity I've had to jump on, but I can't stay for long. The kids will be home in a minute. So yeah,
No worries.
Thanks for everything.
Oh, absolute pleasure. And thank you for lurking for so long and finally hopping on. That's awesome. That's fantastic. Okay, so sorry, I'm going to go to Mr. Chapman first, and then we're going to go to Anna for the questions. So go.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Steve, sorry.
Yeah, Steve. Yeah, thanks. Look, I've got a Tesla Y, and my main anxiety has been the absence of a spare tire, and I would be appreciative of views about whether or not it's reasonable to expect that I should get one and store it in the vehicle, and whether there are any downsides to doing that. And I would love the view of the group.
Steve, are you referring to drives outside of Perth or just
Sorry,
generally?
I live 2 hours south of Perth in Bunbury.
Okay, yeah. Do you do a lot of driving between Perth and Bunbury, or?
Not so much Perth to Bunbury, but certainly Perth to Bastleton. And one of the reasons I got the Y is I throw my mountain bike in it. So I'm often up in the hills, potentially some way away from help. And I've never been comfortable with the thought of no spare tire. So I just wanted the view of the group, I suppose.
Okay, one little quick thing, Steve, is it just so happens that my car, as we speak, I've got a Model Y, has a rather large tech screw in it. And it's been in it, well, sorry, I was driving it for 2 days because I didn't have enough time to get it changed, get it fixed. So hopefully when I get back, I'll still have a full tire. It seems to be fairly well sealed in there. So when you're just driving around town, most of the time people just get a slow leak with the tech screw, which you can, if you can be bothered, you just pump it up every few days until you sort of get round to going to a tire repair place. In all of my driving life of, 35 years or so, I've only ever had one catastrophic flat where the tire went flat in about 1.5 kilometers from 50 psi to basically nothing in a K&a-half. And that only happened a couple of years ago. So I guess you can pick your poison. Worst case, you just get the RAC to help you. Or as you sort of suggested, you certainly can carry around a spare. As a matter of fact, the club has several Model Y spare tires that are available for free for road trips. But obviously, if you're a couple of hours south of Perth, that's sort of difficult to do. But by all means, procure yourself a spare. The most convenient spare is the Modern Spare. So if you just go to modernspare.com, it's an American company. The only sting in the tail is that to land it in Australia, the total Australian dollar cost is approximately $1,300. But what that spare has is it's got it's a skinny spare, so it's a bit of a safe space saver. It's got the jack built in, wheel brace, and it's in a bag. So it's basically all in a convenient carry bag that you can sort of decide to put in or out of your car at your whim. You might get used to just driving around town or nearby without a spare, and then if you're going on a road trip, carry a spare. Pete and I, when we went on our rather long road trip, clearly carried a spare, and we safely returned that spare untouched after 13,500 Ks, which is the best way to do it. Never use it.
And so I can get one and then potentially return it to the group collectively if need be.
To the club for road trips, yes. Yeah, absolutely. And that's in Perth.
It's one of
those.
If you do buy your own, you could always just keep it at home, and if you're not too far away from your home, and then obviously get a lift home or get someone else a family member to pick it up and bring it out to you. I don't have a spare for my Tesla. I just carry a puncture repair kit in the car with me, which I actually have had to use the other week. ran over a full box of nails on the road. Fell off the back of the tradie, and got a nail in. So I've currently got a tyre with the puncture repair kit still in it, and with no leaks. But if you do get a spare, you can probably keep it at home, and then say you do get a flat out in the hills, just get a family member to come out and bring it out to you.
And how effective are the tyre sealant kits that you can get? Are they? I mean, I hear one of you talking about tech screws and nails. Obviously, that might be the majority of your punctures, but it's not all of them, is it?
It's not all of them, but don't use it. Don't use the puncture repair kit unless, I mean, sorry, the gummy stuff, unless absolutely necessary, because it might affect your TPMS, your tire pressure monitoring system, which if you buy it from Tesla, I believe is over $100. You can get them via eBay and other sources for about $30.
Tire Power does them for $40. They just do generic ones, but Tesla uses the standard frequency, so they work just fine.
The repair kit I was talking about is the needle type. Push the needle in with the string, with a bit of glue compound on it. Don't use that gummy spray, the foam, expanded foam stuff.
On longer trips, I keep one of those foam cans in the boot, but only as the absolute very last resort, because you'll probably destroy that tire sort of long term. I would, if I was you, I would definitely have a RAC membership. So Tesla roadside assistance. Paul, I think you know is it 150 kilometres out of Perth?
Something like this. Yeah.
It's 80.
What's that? Right?
80.
So 80 kilometres. 150. So yes, that's not
the tyre replacement is 80 k's from a service centre. So it's not from Perth, it's 80 k's from, so if you're 80 k's from Kalgoorlie or Bunbury, they'll come out to you.
Yeah, I think I've got the extended distance that might be 150 k's. But what the other question I had is there any way I shouldn't jack the car up? I've heard rumours that there are issues with jacking the car up in terms of where you shouldn't.
No, so if you have a look at your instruction manual, you'll actually see there are specific jacking points, and you can actually buy jack pads. They're actually completely optional. I mean, it kind of helps because the jack pad has like a nipple which engages into a recess in the, I don't know if you call it the door sill or the bottom sill of the car. So you then definitely know where to put the jack. But if you actually look under your car, it's behind the front wheel arch and it's in front of the rear wheel arch. And you'll see...
Okay.
And you'll see like a little hole, and which you can sort of put your middle finger in. And that's the point. And you'll actually see, I think there's a little bit of sort of rubbery plastic sort of in that section. And that's where you need to apply the jack only, nowhere else in that side of the car or that end of the car. So certainly don't get like a trolley jack and jack the center of the car or the battery pack or anything like that. And the jack pads, I guess, act as a way of, in a sense, helping you to see where that is, because they only fit in one location at each corner of the car. Now, just getting very quickly back to the tire repair kit, something that you can get, say, from Supercheap is something, or from a place like Supercheap is something like this, which, you know, now it's actually on special. Well, sorry, it's for sale for $40, and basically this has got that unvulcanized rubber slugs that you basically inject. You auger out the tech screw. We take tech screw out and you sort of make the hole a little bit bigger, and then you use like a crochet sort of hook or whatever, and you basically stick you push this unvulcanized rubber slug into the hole, and then I think there's a little knife to actually trim it off at the surface of the tire. And they are sort of emergency temporary repairs.
Just a quick note on that one, Harold. So there's all different ones that you can get. The one that Harold showed you, it looks like a fairly good quality one. I've always made sure that I only ever bought the 4-wheel drive ones, the more heavy duty ones. And the main difference is in the handle on the screw there. With the cheaper ones, that handle bit is just really thin and it just digs into your hand because you need quite a bit of force to force that through the tire, and just not fun. So yeah, you can see it there. So yeah, just go for the more expensive one, the one with a bit of a handle to it. And I've also bought some just some pliers, a couple of sets of small pliers that fit into that container, because yeah, if you do get a tech screw or something, you need something to be able to pull that out with in the first place. And if you don't have pliers, yeah, there's not much else in that kit to help you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Alrighty, so thanks, Steve, for that. And we'll now throw to, now, just a quick apology. Michael, you've got your hand up and it's been up for ages. I hope you haven't given up in disgust. If it's okay, if we can get to you straight after Anna. Oh, no.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
That's fine. Let Anna go first.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Michael. Okay, Anna, just shoot with any questions that you can think of.
Oh, well, the main problem I'm having with is trying to get the car connected to our Wi-Fi at home. And we've moved it. It's a Telstra Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
We've moved it in and out of the garage and so forth. And do we even need it connected for updates, or can it just do it?
No, yes, you do. So one of the things I've found out myself is I think it's channel 13. If your Wi-Fi has chosen channel 13 as its frequency, the Tesla is not capable of seeing it, because in the United States, channel 13 is actually used for ultra short range devices. It's a different purpose. It's a different class of purpose. And the
first of all, it's a lucky number. That's why, Harold.
That's right. So, that could be a possibility. So just check on your modem that it's not at channel 13. Now, most modems are set up to automatically pick a channel, and they usually pick the quietest one or whatever it is, the best signal to noise ratio at the time. But if you find it is channel 13, then just manually tell it to be anything else but 13. So and that in itself might fix the problem. It probably should fix the problem.
There's a workaround. There's a workaround as well. So what you can do is with your mobile is you can create a personal hotspot through your mobile, and then you can use your mobile's Wi-Fi, and that should work. That won't be on channel 13 or anything like that. So obviously make sure you've got enough data on your plan, etc. But yeah, that should be enough to download the software.
Yeah, we did try the hotspot, but it didn't seem to accept passwords or anything.
Okay, so just pause for a moment. Chris, you've got your hand up. Is that because you got something to say about the subject, or is that for something else?
Oh no, it's, I just want to ask a question.
Oh, cool. No worries. Cool. Okay, no worries. Sorry. So Anna, so you were saying you tried the hotspot, but that didn't work either?
Yeah, it did find our phones at least, but it didn't work. Whereas it won't even find our Wi-Fi.
Yep. Okay, so on your phones, I presume you have iPhones?
No, Android.
Oh, okay, cool. All right. Well, that should work better then. Just so coincidentally, the reason why I mentioned iPhones is in my experience, when you put your hotspot on, personal hotspot, and you tell it that there's a setting that says allow others to connect to this hotspot, and you have to turn that on. What I've found is if you turn it on, leave it on, nothing ever seems to really work, and your phone doesn't even show up. And what I've had to do constantly is just turn that switch off on the phone and then turn it back on, and then suddenly your phone hotspot appears in the Wi-Fi list of any device actually. So
you can also turn the whole Wi-Fi off and on. It has the same effect.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But you've got
yeah, we did try both. Anyway, we'll give it another go we'll check the frequency.
Just on that subject, guys. One thing I did read was that you can reset it by pushing 2 buttons on the steering wheel. Does that sound right? What does that actually do? Does that wipe everything, or is it just a software?
It just
Reset.
resets the computer that runs the screen, and they're the two thumb wheels. So they're basically the two thumb wheels. You just press them simultaneously for a few seconds until the screen goes black. And actually you can do this while you're driving, which sort of feels a bit weird, but because you lose your speedo and everything really, and sound. Although if you do use your indicators, you lose your indicator sound, but the indicators actually do work. So, and your brake lights work. Everything still works. Autopilot works. I think it might reset your navigation, although I'm not entirely certain. It might actually come back on with your destination, or you may just have to reselect it again. So there's nothing harmful that resetting the computer can do while you're driving at any particular time. But if you've got like a glitch, it can help clear it.
Oh, thanks for that. That's good. Yeah, because one thing I read, the guy said he did this soft reboot or whatever it was, and he said it fixed the Wi-Fi connection, but we weren't sure what actually the consequence of pushing that button was. We didn't want to lose all our settings that you just work hard to put in.
You won't lose anything.
And don't panic, because once you reset it, the screen will go black or blank for roughly about a minute or so. The minute always feels longer when you're staring at a blank screen. But yeah, don't panic, it will come back on. So when you see the white T logo, that's when it starts to reboot. And if you don't see your Wi-Fi in the first sort of minute or two or three after you've done the reboot, just be a bit patient, because the Wi-Fi seems to be one of the last things that either the Wi-Fi or the 4G connection seems to be one of the last things to reconnect after a reboot.
Okay,
actually, you did right, Pete. It can take a couple of minutes, if not several minutes, to get your LTE, the mobile internet, working again, which can be frustrating if you're streaming stuff.
It's loading units into the computer memory and then starting them up, and then loads the next one. So it can take a bit of a time, but it's a lot longer than a minute. It's more like 10 minutes when you're driving, Pete.
Yes. No,
that's called relativity, isn't it? That's relativity.
Is that because I'm driving too fast?
It's so relative, no.
And finally, on that subject, I noticed above the Wi-Fi, I think it said LTE. Is that normal?
Yes.
Yeah, that's your phone.
Okay, thank you.
Your mobile connection.
Yeah.
Okay, so Chris, you've got your. Yeah, no worries. So Chris, you've got your hand up. What would you like to ask us?
I've got a good one for you. So I picked up my car today. I managed to get
did you say today?
Yes.
Congratulations.
So I picked up the car today. Wonderful. I've driven Teslas before, so I knew what was coming, and it exceeds what I was expecting. So there you go. Because it was all very much a surprise that I were getting this car so quickly, because I dived on an inventory order last week, and I was expecting the car not to be until January. So I had no charging, and I got the surprise that everybody gets. Oh, we don't include a charger anymore. So luckily, I managed to get a charger, 15-amp charger. I thought, that'll do me until I can work out what I'm going to do with regard wall charger, etc. Well, guess what? It's a Type 1 charger. I've got my new car in the garage, and I've got nowhere charging it. And I live in the northern suburbs, and there's plenty of
whereabouts in the northern suburbs are you, Chris?
Queen's Rocks. So,
Chris, I'm just in Joondalup. I went to the service centre last week and bought 3 of the 10 and 15 amp UMCs, Universal Mobile Connectors.
Oh, okay.
I'm more than happy to, I'll put my mobile in the chat.
Yeah.
If you just, I'll lend you one for a couple of weeks. It will take a couple of weeks if you order one online.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you can try just going into your app and creating a service appointment, and just under other, and just say you'd like to pick one up from the service centre.
Okay.
And you may be able to get one in a couple of days. But in the meantime, I'll drive one out to you, and you're more than welcome to borrow it until you get yourself sorted.
Yeah, I've ordered a Type 2 to Type 2 as well for the public chargers, and we've got a few around here. So, but that won't come till Friday. So I'm in this sort of funny limbo situation. But
you've got the Karen Up charger as the supercharger there.
Yeah, that's the last resort, obviously. But
well, it's not a last
101 type problem.
But Chris, it's not a last resort. I mean, that's actually the gold standard method of charging your car.
No, I don't mean last resort in regard to charging. I mean, for me to go to the carrying mill, as
of course.
To go to
yes, of course.
You know,
yeah.
And Chris, feel free to write a letter to your local representative and tell them that in 2022 it's absolutely ridiculous that the whole northern suburbs of Perth don't have a single DC charger. The most northern DC charger is Karen Up and Gwelup. There's nothing.
I did have Tesla that as well.
Yes,
said,
nothing
well,
north.
One north, and they went yes. I said, where? Geraldton.
Yeah.
Looks like there's one in Butler coming. It says coming soon.
I've got that's one thing. So thank you for that offer. And I will take you up on that. That's wonderful. But I've got a little one which I want to talk to everybody about, when I was going through the inventory orders, which Tesla sort of told me, I picked it up on the Tesla Tom website, and they were saying there were inventory cards where people had cancelled. It's got Type Ys coming and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, great, I'll go and pick up one of the inventory. Anyway, I saw one, and of course, I wanted to try and get the $3,500 rebate. And of course, it's just $200 over if you have a colour on the car.
Yeah.
So I started to dig, because I'm that type of guy, and I went on the Department of Transport's website to see what defines dutiable value. Now, it clearly says on their documentation, their white papers, that the dutiable value shouldn't include the delivery charge, but Tesla do include it. Anybody had that experience? Does anybody know why? And do you think that's right?
No, in fact, I'm just opening up the inventory site to get one of the models in question, which is above the threshold.
225, I think now, which is $225 over.
Okay, so if we just go here and go, sorry.
That's the one I was looking at.
Yeah. Here we go. So
can you see, it actually says includes delivery fee of 1,375. And when you go to the calculator for the Department of Transport and type in 7225, the figure for stamp duty, local duty, is 4,565. So they are including the stamp duty. So when I got my order, I asked Tesla, why are you charging stamp duty on delivery? They never responded. And neither is the Department of Transport at the moment. So I'm waiting for a determination from the DT to find out whether Tesla are charging everybody too much. And it's about, on that value car, it's about $90 extra. Now, that wasn't the reason we're looking. I was looking because of the 3,500 rebate that you get if it's under 70,000. But it's an interesting one.
So Chris, I guess it comes down to the definition of what's dutiable value. I mean, there's no doubt that there is that delivery fee, but what they're saying is it's been built into this 70,225. Now, that can be a very
bill separately.
Well, that can be a very so they do show it on your bill separately or not, or don't?
They do.
Right. So that means the car itself is not 7225. It's 7225 minus 1375.
1375. Yeah.
Is that correct?
And it takes it underneath the rebate cost. Now, there's two sides to this issue, shall we call it? One is that they've been, if I'm right and they're wrong, which sounds unlikely.
Sorry, who is they? You mean Tesla or you mean the Department?
They Tesla. Yep. Definitely in WA, it sounds like I'm right. I've read through multiple white papers, and it says that delivery fees are general. I've got a snippet from the white paper, and I've sent that to Tesla. Delivery fees should not be calculated within the duty.
Okay, so the main point there then is, don't forget that this rebate is actually claimed from, well, Department of Transport or whatever, which it might be Department of Transport. You make the claim separately after buying the vehicle.
Yeah.
So what could be a glimmer of potential good news is, it really doesn't matter what Tesla characterizes that delivery fee. If they do say that the vehicle price comprises $1,375 of a delivery fee, then all you need to do is show that evidence to the Department of Transport, so they can then subtract that from the 70,225 and then declare to you, or concede to you, that that means the car does fall under their definition of dutiable value. It doesn't matter what Tesla's definition is, because what I mean, so what I mean is the most important thing is not so much what Tesla's done with their line items, but they have absolutely specified a portion that is a delivery fee, and they've called it inclusive of the $70,225. So perhaps the good news is that the WA government will concede that that car does indeed fall under the threshold, and they will send you a check for $3,500. And
well, this is why I've asked for determination, because the rebate side of the government work on dutiable value. So as long as it falls under 70, you get $3,500 up to 10,000 cars.
Yes, exactly.
Which we should be well in on that at the moment.
Yeah.
And Chris, your further evidence is the separation and that line item in your invoice.
Yeah, it definitely shows it.
Yeah,
I checked it. I don't usually miss these type of things, you see. I'm one of them type of people who check everything except the cable.
Well, Chris, if you do get that, determination, then you'll be a very popular person within the club and within WA, because that will then set a precedent. And the good news is, I presume that you've got a fairly long period, some period of time to actually make the claim after you bought the car, because you have to actually do that. You make the claim after the purchase.
Is it 12 months? Does that sound right to anyone?
I don't know. I thought it was 30 days, but I might be wrong.
Right. Okay.
But if it is,
just going back to Harold, on it's the bigger picture than what I've said. So that was the reason why I checked it, because of the rebate. That I wouldn't have normally checked it. I would have just presumed that Tesla knew, because they're a huge company, that they would know the rules. Normally, when you go to buy a car, a dealer goes through that with you, and they specify it. But Tesla are the dealer and they are the manufacturer, so it's an unusual situation. So the bigger thing that I think I've found is Tesla have been overcharging definitely people in WA on every car they've sold since the start of selling in WA, and maybe in every other state as well. So that's
in what sense, Chris? In what sense do you mean?
Because if they're calculating the duty incorrectly, you pay that to Tesla, they then onward fund that to the government. They are charging you $90 extra, or maybe more.
Yeah. So you're assuming that they're not passing on to the full amount.
No, I'm not presuming that. I just think they made a mistake.
Yeah. Sorry, but this. So I was just going to very quickly say, sorry, Pete. I was just going to very quickly say, don't forget there are two differences. There's this value, which is the threshold of being $70,000, right?
Yeah,
the dutiable, what they sort of call a dutiable value. But then there's also the value that's apportioned to luxury car tax and all other things. I mean, you'd have to literally look at the definition, and then there's stamp duty, of course. And
well, it's the stamp duty we're talking about. So,
but I would have thought the delivery fee was part of the stamp duty. I thought you paid stamp duty on the delivery.
Says, if I could remember how to share my screen, I'd show you. But it clearly says generally does not include dutiable value, which is used to calculate stamp duty, does not usually generally contain the delivery charge. If that's the case, then the dutiful value will be lower. Therefore, the fee you pay, the stamp duty, will
Okay,
be
go.
lower by about
Okay.
$90.
Cool. Okay, go, Ken.
Mm.
You were going to say
I
something?
was just going to say that's the opposite of what it says on the ATO's website.
Is it?
Dealer delivery is dutiable supply, along with things like metallic paint and those things.
You must have got a bit different documentation to me then, because I've got it from their website.
So from their website, are you referring to
The Department of Transport.
Kenny's referring to the Australian Taxation Office.
Yeah.
And
That's interesting. Two different departments, two different definitions.
but one's state, the other one's federal. So, but in your case, the 3,500, that's a state subsidy. That's not a federal one. So you could argue that, you know, if there is a contradiction between the two definitions, it should be the state one that applies.
Let me try and share this little snippet if I can, if I know how to do it on Zoom.
In fact, Peter, it might be that for the federal purpose, it's for determining luxury car tax, which is a federal tax. Whereas
also
if this
GST.
Oh yes,
And
yeah,
GST.
of course, Ken. Yeah, yep. But if the state, for example, has a slightly different definition, and that means that that car in question does fall beneath the $70,000 threshold on WA's definition of what dutiable value is, then that's great. But yeah, I mean, as Ken says, the ATO definitely says that it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you could imagine, you know, car companies can do clever things if they're near a luxury car tax threshold or some other threshold. And in fact, they used to do this in the very old days. They used to offer cars without wheels, and say, well, the most important part is the car, and this is how much the price is, and we will sell you nice wheels for several $1,000s a set just to sneak under a limit. And I think the ATO and other instrumentalities got wise to that and said, no, you've really got to sell the whole car. And any accessory that you can't sort of accessorize a paint color because it's stuck to the car when you deliver it, as are wheels.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh well, when you
I'm
find
still
out,
waiting
Chris?
for the definition from the local government. I'd be interested to see what they say, because I've got it in front of me. I just don't know how to share it with you.
Oh no. So
Don't
if you want to
worry.
share, sorry, there is a thing, you just go share screen. So at the bottom.
Yeah, no, it's because the mic keeps asking me which bit I want to share.
Oh yes. So you can share a window. So if you
well,
if you got a link,
we'll share it if it's too.
Yeah, I'm just giving permission to Zoom now. That's anyway. I don't want to do that one.
okay, no. So Chris, if you've got if it's a website link or a PDF from the website or a
It's
web
just a
page.
screen capture. It's a JPEG.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, when you go screen share, you can probably do a window. So you can do when you go screen share, it'll ask you what to share, and you should see media. What's it called? Media player, not media player. It's the other thing. Album player or whatever app that you show photos on, depending on what sort of PC you've got or computer you've got, and you can just share that app's image. So just give it a try, Chris.
I've turned it on, but it's saying I've got to restart Zoom to do it. But,
oh, okay. All right. We'll leave
it's a
it.
shame. Anyway,
but I'll tell you what. We'll give you homework.
The link's in the chat.
So say again, James.
Chat where he's talking about the WA dutiable. I put it in the chat.
Okay,
Oh,
cool.
got it. Okay, I'll just open that and share it. Have you read
Well,
this
yeah,
yet?
Chris.
I'm just
Go
looking now. There we go.
Dutiable value.
Exemptions. Where is it? Dutiable value. Blah, blah, blah,
We got it
blah.
here.
I went through multiple links before I
This
could
includes
get to it.
optional features of a particular type of transmission, blah, blah, blah. Dutiable values involved promotional. That doesn't say much at all. So
Yeah, I need to actually share the link. At the very
nominal
least.
duty.
That's way.
Apply for nominal on it would only be small objections, video understanding. Now that's not a lot of info there, James.
Wouldn't it be actually under the actual rebate? Shouldn't it be a link with that?
That's
Yeah, let me
promotional
drop out
pricing.
and I'll share it. I'll come back.
That link was from the EV rebate website where it says
Okay.
that. So
Cool.
I'll just put a link to the actual EV website there, and that's where you go. You know, what's a duplicable link? That's where they send you your information.
Yep.
I've just put that link
Cool.
into the
Nice. Well, if he's successful, then then the first lot of us that got a Model Y will.
Well, actually,
Put it
sorry, it
now.
actually says here that the
Fine,
dutable value of a new vehicle, which is not a heavy vehicle, is the recommended retail selling price. Let's just see what that is, and
I've got the ability to share now, Harold. So I'll show you the snippet.
okay, go on, Chris.
Right, where are we? That one there. You see that?
Hang on, let me just minimize because I've just. However, the price fixed by manufacturer, importer, or principal does not generally include dealer delivery charges and registration fees. Well, that's correct. Definitely not rego or premiums. That's correct. I.e., as a consequence, vehicle license duty is not payable on these amounts. Vehicle license duty.
Chris, it would be good to have the context in which this
Screenshot
came from.
Yeah.
If I can find the URL, I'll find out what I've sent to the.
It's from this page.
Where's the thing?
I just pasted it. It most recently.
You found it.
It's from that page.
With that contract, it says not generally.
I know.
So that's their loophole right there.
Yeah, and that's why I've asked for a determination.
Yeah.
Because generally, what does that mean? But it's an interesting one because it could be wrong. Just because Tesla's huge, don't mean they don't make mistakes.
No, they're fine for as Ken's pointed out, they're fine Australia wide. You're talking about this actual thing. See how you go with it, and then if you're successful, let the club know.
Oh yeah.
So then the members can actually get it. But it depends on who you actually get, because if they're like me, they'll say no. Because I do contracts as a living, so they'll go that those two words. That there's your loophole right there.
Yeah, but
but
to
good
be
luck.
fair, I bought
I hope
many
you get
new
it.
cars, and I know they don't include the delivery.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Here's the paragraph right here. The retail selling price of the vehicle or optional features is taken directly from the price fixed by the manufacturer, importer, blah, blah. The price is structured on the basis that GST is payable, blah, blah. Vehicle license duty is payable on the retail selling price, regardless of whether supply of the vehicle is GST free or not. However, the price fixed by the manufacturer, importer, or principal distributor does not generally include dealer delivery charges, and forget the rest. Okay, so Tesla have clearly stated. So just 2 seconds here. So Tesla have clearly stated that dutable value incorporates a 1,300 and whatever it was delivery fee. So the fact that Tesla have clearly stated that there's a delivery fee embodied in that overall price ought to mean that if the government considers that that is generally not considered to be the dutable value, then there's a plausible argument to suggest that you could delete that value, at least in the case of this $70,000 threshold, and possibly in general. So Ken, you were going to say something 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, the problem with that is that page and that paragraph is talking about certain new vehicles of particular type, which has a fixed price. The following paragraph says, blah, 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 blah. General rule, duty value of vehicles with a purchase price plus any of, but not limited to, dealer delivery charges, processing fees, buying premiums, administrative costs, and other like expenses which relate to the acquisition of the vehicle. So it depends whether you're talking about paragraph 1 on that page or paragraph 2 on that page, and whether it's just the Model Y is a certain new vehicle with a fixed price, or whether It's other new vehicles, and I would fear that they're falling into paragraph 2
Can I throw in
because
my
it's
two
not a
bolts?
fixed price vehicle. Yeah.
Okay, go, Shane.
My interpretation of that is that when you buy a new car, the dutiable value is the value of the car, it's the value of the delivery fee, it's the value of the paint, it's the value of the tyres, all the rest of it. Doesn't include your rego, but it is all those other things. And generally, when you look at an advertised price for a new car, it doesn't include that delivery fee. That's what that second paragraph is talking about, is saying generally it doesn't include the listed retail price doesn't include it, but it is a dutiable thing.
It will be
But you
very
should be
interesting
paying
to see what they come back to me and say. And we're interested.
You should be paying. You should be paying duty on that, as per what someone was saying. Ken, I think, was saying about the from the ATO. You should be paying duty on that.
Okay.
Otherwise, you go and buy a car for $20,000 with a $40,000 delivery fee.
That's true.
Yeah. But hey, if you get someone to rule that it's okay, then you beauty. But
even for the rebate, that's why we're looking at it originally. I'm not really bothered about 80, but
I'll be happy. He'll be happy. He'll be happy. He'll be happy. He'll be happy.
And Tesla would be a little bit happy too, because they'll move some of the inventory that people are holding off buying because they can't get the rebates on them. So,
win-win. Everyone wins except the general textbook.
Michael's had his hand up for a while.
Oh, sorry, just 2 seconds. We'll just finish this off.
Okay.
But you did say, Chris, that there's a fair bit of inventory there. I mean, look, there are only eight
there's a fair
cars.
bit of inventory across the country.
Oh yes, but forget the rest of the country, because we could care less about that.
But there's only 3, or maybe even 2 now, but there's only 3 at that 70,225 price point.
Oh,
I mean,
yes,
if you look at the inventory, it even says 69,300 something on the top of the inventory, and then you drill down and it tells you it's 70,225.
Okay, if we go and buy now this blue car, we'll have a look.
It's just
because the inventory price
it just seems so unfair that for $225
excludes taxes and charges.
Okay, so this one, again, that's 70,225. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Can I just say it's insane, or just silly, or lazy, or whatever it is, that Tesla doesn't at least for the inventory cars, that they don't drop the price by $250.
Yeah, exactly. Just not the admin fee, whatever it's called.
Absolutely. Okay, so now, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. So, apologies, Norm, you've just put your hand up. So, unless it was directly related to what we just spoke about, I might just get to you second after Michael. But if it is directly related, please say now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. It's not related to what you're talking about.
Okay, cool. Okay,
it's a very simple question.
Yep. No. Okay, we'll get to you, just to be fair to Michael, because he's been very patient. Or perhaps he hasn't. Okay. Perhaps he's been very frustrated, which wouldn't surprise me, because we made him wait long enough. But so, apologies, Michael. Please go.
I had a phone call with Pete, and Pete advised me to order the Type 2 to Type 2 directly from Tesla. But problem is I'm going away and I've got a bit of anxiety whether it's going to come or not. Is there anywhere in Perth that you can just buy it?
Well, yes and no, but you can actually borrow one free from the club for a road trip. So
yeah, we're going down south.
Yeah, when are you going?
Going away on the 7th, and it's meant to come on the 6th, but
oh, sorry. So you mean the 7th of January?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And everything's been delayed with Australia Post, so that's why I'm a bit worried.
Okay, cool. So good news is you'll be able to borrow one from us. I'll leave you my number in the chat.
I got your number, Harold.
Oh, you got my number. Okay.
I did message you before you went away, but didn't get
was
back.
that on the phone or was that?
Yeah, on phone.
Apologies, I've just been crazy busy.
Yeah.
You will be able to get one from me. I won't be
Yeah.
there, but I'll get someone else to basically put it outside my place so you can just pick it up as a dead drop or a dead pickup.
Yeah, thanks, Harold, because
so-
I'm just worried about going away and it's not here yet.
No, totally cool, Michael. So, oh yes, sorry, Michael. Now I do distinctly remember you said, yeah, since I was going away, if you could get a Type 2. Yes,
Yeah.
no, you can. You definitely can. So there are
Yeah.
Type 2s stacked in my garage at the moment. And I'll just get someone to, like I said, take one out the other side of the gate and you can pick it up.
Yeah. Thanks, Harold.
But if we can do that closer to sort of, the first week of January, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yep.
Just let me know, and
Yep.
that'll be
Yeah, no
perfect.
worries. Awesome. No
All right,
problem.
thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank
Norm.
Look, Harold, thank you very much. It's a very simple issue. My wife's just bought a Tesla Y a couple of days ago. And of course, we haven't got the cable. As the previous speaker just mentioned, we were sold this without being given any cable or anything to do, recharge it with and so on. So I had to take it down to the Esplanade Hotel at Fremont to recharge the thing. And I got it up to 250 or so, whatever it was, kilowatts on the meter. Drove it home 1 kilometre. The next morning it was down to 180. What does that mean?
Yes. Okay. So what you've got is you've got Sentry mode turned on. And what it does is the computer uses about, I think it's 250 watts, just running itself and the cameras. So within a 24-hour period, if it's parked doing nothing, it'll consume about 6 kilowatt hours or a bit over 10% of the battery. So in your setup, you can actually tell it to exclude home for Sentry mode. So if you go in, I'm just going to bring up the website here. 2 seconds. Okay, let me just get the right menu.
So can you tell the car to turn the Sentry mode off itself?
Yes,
just
you
by a
can.
voice
So
message?
Well, actually, you can do it in your app. So you can just go in your Tesla app and just turn off Sentry mode. But it's better because you do generally want Sentry mode on when you're parked out and about, because you never know if someone digs into you or whatever. Let me just pick the.
But not in my garage.
I think it's under safety precisely. So, here it is. Okay. So if you go and you click your menu item, right? So it's the icon in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. You can see that just there. And then you go to safety. And then you can see here, Sentry mode is actually turned on, but you can click exclude home. So if you tick exclude home, and then that's presuming you've actually set home as your address. So, so you need to obviously go into navigate and you can just set home, and then it will automatically exclude. Now that's on the presumption that you're parked in the garage. That's generally safe, so you're not concerned about
that's
someone.
No problem,
So then, and that in a 24-hour period, if your car was parked doing nothing at home, it would effectively save approximately 6 kilowatt hours of energy, which actually, to be honest, that's about $2 worth, I think.
In my case, it dropped much more than that.
No, you were mentioning a couple of hundred. You're 200 and something kilometers, and you went down to 180.
Went from 250 to 180.
Yes, but you might have. It's also a hot day, so you probably got
aircon,
cabin overheat protection on, and the car does consume a little bit of energy in keeping itself cool on a very hot day.
Right.
So, which is also something else that you can do in safety is you can tell it for cabin overheat protection to go full bore and use the air conditioner if necessary, or you can tell it to do best effort and just use the ventilation of the car to keep the temperature to a reasonable level.
Yeah. I just noticed also, I walked past the car about 6 hours after it was used. It was still making a funny humming noise and sitting in the garage doing nothing.
Yes.
Well,
So that humming
would that
noise
be-
is actually the air conditioner ventilating itself, because what Tesla
Yeah.
found in the Model 3s and Ys with their air conditioning system was that there would be an excessive buildup of moisture, and then it could cause
Right.
mold in your, like a damp smell in your car. So what
Okay.
the car automatically does is, when it's parked, is it'll sit there, and it does it for quite a few minutes. It'll purge with the fan on high, to basically dry out the air conditioner system from built up moisture in the evaporator inside the car.
Norm said it was 6 hours after he'd driven it, he walked past it and it was making a noise.
There was
Right, Norm?
yeah, it was some hours afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the overheat protection kicking on and off.
Okay, gotcha. Now, look, one last question. Harold, one last question. I'll pass you to my wife, so she can ask it.
Oh, look, hi, I'm the driver of the car, and I'm incredibly anxious. I'm incredibly anxious because I thought it would come with a charger, and I've got the same problem. I'm waiting for a charger to come. Is there some way I can borrow one? Because my husband has to keep going down to the Esplanade Hotel and sitting in the car for hours while it's slowly charging.
Little fast charge.
Yes, you can. Well, that's the other thing too, is there are fast DC chargers. Is the White Gum Valley one? I don't know if I don't think that's available. Oops. I don't think that's available to members of the public.
The only one I saw was in Carrinup, like a supercharger, but that's miles from me. I'm in Fremantle.
No. So that's not the only one. So basically, if you in your
Do you have one in
so
Willowtree?
just hang on 2 seconds. So if you look on PlugShare, so
Yes.
you set Tesla Fast and CCS. So see there's two filters there. So then if you look around, I presume you're down south. Now I'm just going to check White Gum Valley. Oh no, that's Tokiva. Sorry, no. Actually, where is White Gum Valley? That's
Yeah.
it's not there.
White Gum Valley is near us. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just not showing as a. Why is that? Maybe because it's set for private. It might be. Sorry, 2 seconds.
Just while you're doing that, I've got a
What is
quick question for Ken. Hey, Ken, have you got daylight savings at your house? How do you get that? I just want to get daylight savings as well.
Well, Jared,
No answer?
I mean, look, that's daylight savings for you, mate. It's
Oh,
real
you got daylight savings. All right. What's that white stuff?
He's got
That's-
season savings. He's
That-
been
that-
saving summer.
That white
Can
stuff.
I just ask,
Yes,
does
go on.
anyone think that Tesla should supply you with a cable when you buy the car? I mean, I'm pretty naive, and I just bought a car because I want an electric car. And I knew nothing about getting chargers, or that I'd have to wait a month before one came. I would have thought they would supply a charger with the car.
They used to prior to the 9th of July. And then I think the reasoning was similar to what Apple has reasoned. You get a new iPhone now and it no longer comes with a charger. So the reasoning there is that, enough people have the iPhones and they don't want to be contributing to electronic waste, and they don't want to be including chargers for people that, don't need them. Whether
Sure, that's fine. But
But the short answer is yes, they should include one.
yeah, I mean, the thing
I
is,
agree.
I haven't had an electric car before, so it's not that I've got other chargers.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think it quite translates from that Apple argument to the Tesla one, because, in Australia, half the population, or 30 or 40%, would have already had an iPhone before getting next. And I don't think, you could apply those figures to Tesla. So, so I don't think it quite translates. And exactly as Ken said, couldn't agree with more, they should include it.
Or
So
at least
the other
have an
thing is,
option to delete it.
is
So
there any-
have it included as a price. So you add the price of the charger, which the basic one is $550 for
Yes.
the 10 amp or 15 amp charger. Have it included in the price, and then have a checkbox that
Yep.
says, I don't need this, and you get a discount coming
Yes.
back. That is true. The
Brilliant.
only other thing in one
That
slight
actually
bit of
do it.
the only other thing in Tesla's defense is if you compare it, it's not quite a direct comparison, but if you compare it to a petrol car, I guess you could say that it's equivalent of having a jerry can or a petrol can provided with your car so that you could sort of put petrol in it and fill it up at home, I guess. It's not quite, it's a bit of a tenuous example, because there are petrol stations where you refuel your car, as are there public EV stations which need no adapters, the DC ones. So obviously there's a Carrot supercharger. There's quite a few around in WA. They're not super close to you, obviously, but they are there. Freo? No, there's nothing near Fremantle. So, and that's just the state of Western Australia's charging system at the moment. But I also agree with Ken. You know, it just makes more sense to provide it at an added cost, and have a little checkbox that says, "I don't want this. Give me that money back, or don't charge me that money." But the default position is, perhaps if you do nothing, is you get one.
Well, I mean, is there any way I can hire one or rent one or borrow one, or until I get mine sent?
Okay, so when is yours coming?
The Australia Post has said between the 28th of December and the 3rd of January.
Okay. Send me a
2
text.
weeks.
I'll 2 weeks. So send me a text.
2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
I'll just send you
So
just 2 seconds. Just you see the phone number in the chat there now. Send me a text and I'll organise for one.
Sorry, Harold. I'm on my iPhone, so I'm not getting your picture or. We've got no pictures.
Okay, hang on. Okay, just hang on. Just hang on a moment. And that's me. That's me. So send me a text and I'll organise for someone to leave one out so you can borrow it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Harold. I really appreciate it.
And no worries. Now, James has been very patient with his hand up. And then also, Anna, I'm going to get to you. Sorry, Norm. Oh,
thanks, Harold.
Sorry. No, not Norm. No, Andrew. James first. Sorry, James first.
If you got two drivers, make sure you set home for both drivers. Otherwise, so my wife and myself, you can set a different home location, even though it's the same car. And so for a few nights, Sentry mode was left on depending on who drove home. So set home for every driver.
Very good point, James. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Thanks, James.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good.
More than Santa Claus.
Okay, so now we're going to go to Norm, and then Anna,
You've
and
already
then.
done me. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm going to lower your hand. Sorry, that just my bad. Okay, so Anna, and then we're going to go to Nigel.
I send that to him.
Anna, come in, Anna.
No, not calling.
Sorry. Just this isn't urgent, so if you're running out of time, you can move on. But we were at the Spearwood Library. We were at the Spearwood Library on the weekend, trying their charges because we're Fremantle people as well. And we're just wondering if anyone had any experience with that, because our mobile connector worked okay, but when we tried to put in the Menicus fast charger connector, it didn't work. It wouldn't recognise the.
Where was this? Where was this at? Sorry, Anna.
At Spearwood Library in Coburn.
Is that by the council?
Yeah, it's a free one at the moment.
Yeah, they haven't worked very well at all. You have to plug into the standard plug socket.
Yeah.
I think it's underneath.
Yeah, we figured that. Yeah, okay.
PlugShare has a 2.1 rating.
Okay, yeah. So they say they're 32 amp chargers, but we tried both of them, and no joy. I mean, obviously the cable fitted and everything, but no joy at all. We wondered whether it was our cable, but I don't think so. It's a brand new cable.
No, I think the chargers are no good.
Yeah, as Ken says, it's 2.1 out of 10. So you can see all these people reporting not being able to charge. So
but they don't have a UMC, so they can't use it. There is a backup 15 amp plug, but you need a UMC to use it. So, sorry.
Richard Chapman, you live in Fremantle. Surely you know some places we can charge in Fremantle.
Yeah, this garage.
Yeah, okay. So just send those people round to your garage. So Anna, just go around to Richard's garage and you can charge there. No problem. It's all good. Sort it out.
Actually,
Yeah.
in Fremantle,
You
you've
get
got
50
the
cents a kilowatt hour.
in Fremantle, you've got the Esplanade Hotel, and there are two Tesla destination chargers, so you can actually see them 1-2 right at the front of the Esplanade Hotel with dedicated parking just for EVs. So,
Is it that tag dog?
So we saw the ones at the car park. Sorry, we saw the ones at the car park across the road, the public car park. Didn't realise, funnily enough, I didn't realise there was some at the hotel itself.
yeah, so that's the Esplanade Hotel, and that's because it's a Tesla destination charger. It requires no cables of any sort. It's what's called a tethered charger. So it has a tether or a cable attached to it.
Tethered.
Right, thanks.
Thanks, that's great.
No worries. No problems.
Okay,
Close the back door.
Sorry, Nigel, it just does my head in seeing the word grumpy, which I know you are, but it's not your name.
Is that gas?
So
coming out of your back?
go Nigel. Sorry.
Okay. Completely unrelated to everything, but some people I know have been getting command failed when they tried to set the temperature on the cabin overheat protection from 40 down to 35 and 30. My Model 3, which is a 2019 Model 3, got a software update today to the 2022.44.25.1.
Me too, Nigel.
What?
Oh, yeah.
What, Pete?
Me too. Same one.
Yeah. And
It's a nursing home one.
cabin overheat
The nursing
protection
home.
error does not occur with that, but on my Model Y, which is only a couple of months old, it's still on .2. It hasn't got the update and it's still got the error. So you go and say, go to 35 and it goes, command failed. So I think it will be cured if and when you get the update to .44.25. whatever.
Very good.
Yeah, which is a whole point release. It's 11.1. So there's a lot of
busy day in the med shed today, Nige.
There's a lot of under the hood changes in 11.1.
Yeah, right. Cool. So how many people have got that so far? Just a couple.
But I've only got on one of my cars.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
What a hard life.
Yeah.
I got
The
it on
other-
the 3.
the
I got it on
seven
the 3
are
this
still-
morning and the Y this evening. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
cool.
in pretty solid worldwide release, so I'd be surprised if it's not arriving everywhere within a couple of days.
Just like the daylight saving.
I can't see because I've hired a Model Y in Vienna, but
Oh, of course.
good old Tesla. You know how you can send a link to make anyone a nominated driver as long as they've got a Tesla account. Well, that link fails if you're an Australian Tesla owner, or your account is based in Australia, and I think in many other foreign countries outside of Europe and possibly outside of North America. So I had to set up a dummy Austrian no car Tesla account, and then it worked perfectly. The only frustration is on your phone app, of course, you've got to log out of whatever. If I want to see my own cars, I've got to log out of the Austrian account and go into my normal account. So as you can see, Tesla doesn't get everything quite perfectly done.
Thanks, Johan, for that.
Shane, you've got your hand up.
I do. I've got a really tricky question. If anyone's up for it, but if there's any other newbies on here, maybe throw their questions out first. But I've got a tricky mobile connector question.
No, go on. Give it to us. We'll do the hard ones and easy ones. It's all good.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so my girlfriend recently purchased herself an EV as well, not a Tesla, but that's okay. We can't all afford these things. And it can charge it. It can charge it up to 7 kilowatts on single phase. So, you know, I sort of went, that's fantastic. Well, sorry, but it was delivered with a 10 amp charger, which is, you know, not real great. She wants to do a bit of traveling and stuff with it. So I said, what you need is one of these Tesla jobbies where you can pull the plug out and put in a different plug, and you can go on to 10 amps and 15 amps and 32 amps, and you just use the same thing. And they're fantastic design, and they're nice and small and light and brilliant. So I bought her one, and it worked great on her car. No worries. Works great on my Tesla. Works great on her car. Brilliant. The mobile connector that came with my car, so a much older one, it's the same generation, but it's an older one. That works fine on my car, but not on her car. Like, her car doesn't seem to want to lock onto it and suck energy out of it. How can I fix this?
Okay, so sorry, so Shane, her car's not a Tesla, isn't it?
It's not a Tesla, no, it's an Atto.
Yeah, right. So the answer is that the old UMCs, because they were only ever intended to use with Teslas, use what's called the LIN protocol. They don't use the standard Type 2 protocol.
We're talking about all Gen 2s here, Harold.
No, I thought Shane was referring to a UMC, not Shane. You're referring to a UMC, or you're referring to the HPWC, the high power, the wall connector, or you're referring to the mobile connector?
No, I'm talking about a UMC with a removable plug that came with my car. And
UMC, yes.
He's talking about a Gen 2 UMC.
Correct.
Yes.
Single phase UMC. They should work with everything.
Yep.
No, Shane's talking about the.
No, I'm talking about
he's talking about a second generation Tesla single phase mobile connector. In my experience, they work with any car, so that's weird.
And that Ant Day also says the same thing. It works with his Leafs. Works with
in fact, Gen 1 MCs work with everything I've tested as well. So that's a weird one.
Mine worked previously with a mine worked previously with a what is a Kona. Worked with a Kona as well.
Yep, and I've used them on a Polestar, and I've used them on a Leaf, and I've used them on, you know. So I'm surprised the Atto doesn't like your early Gen 2. It might be,
It did like the new one, just not the old one.
So Shane, so you said that the old UMC worked on a Kona.
It did previously, yes.
Okay. Well, here's a great test. See if you can get the same Kona or access to it, and try it again.
Yeah.
Just to check.
Yep.
Because I don't think the pin, the presence pilot, sorry, the control pilot pin might. Look, thinking out aloud, maybe it's gotten a bit shorter or something, and it's not making proper contact or something weird like that. That could explain it.
That's all I can think of. I'm assuming it's a physical issue. There's either some wear or something on it, but because there's nothing. There's nothing.
I've speed up my equipment.
Absolutely. I've seen your car and your trailer, but no. All joking aside, there's no software reason that any generation of Tesla mobile connector shouldn't work on any car.
Could it possibly just be the fact that when Shane's older UMC was produced, the Atto wasn't even around, and when the new one was produced, maybe they enabled it to charge?
Yeah, but it would have had a software update through the Tesla by now, and actually, I don't think
definitely had a software update.
Yeah, I don't think that's relevant anyway, because the standard. So what Harold was talking about was the early Tesla HPWCs, the Gen 1 and Gen 2 HPWCs are not by design compatible with other cars. They're not by design incompatible. It's just that. So what you're saying certainly applies to those. It's no longer true for the third generation HPWC. It'll work with anything in exactly the same way. but all of the MCs, the Universal Mobile Connectors, first and second generation, will work with anything that is Type 2 because they just talk the standard. So yeah, that's a weird one, Shane. There's no reason it shouldn't work.
Get it back onto the Kona, Shane, just to get a reference point so that you know if you know it works on the Kona, then that makes it a bit more interesting. But again, it could still be a minor physical difference, which is just causing it not to work.
Yeah, I did have a good look in there, thinking it might have been something like that, but it didn't look. It didn't look too much trouble. The only difference is one of them appears to be Rev E. It's got the same part number with an E on the end of it, and one of them's got a G on the end of it. That seems to be the only difference between them.
You need a tiebreaker. You've got 2 points of data. You've got 2 data points. You've got a Tesla working and an Atto not. You need a tiebreaker to basically decide once and for all whether that UMC is actually working with another car. So just try and get it into any other brand of non-Tesla EV.
That's right. Run up to someone in a car park with an EV and just plug it in.
Can I touch your car, please? Fantastic.
All right.
Thanks,
so
guys.
anyone...
I'll give that a while. Report back.
Yeah, good luck. Oh, please do. Absolutely. All righty. Anyone else got any other questions or maybe any news items? Like I said, apologies. I'm certain there's been a lot that's been happening in Tesla land. I just got that Cybertruck, wrote that bit up, recorded it today, had no other end of problems with my laptop. So if there's any bits of notable news, then also feel free to discuss that too.
Have we talked about the holiday release and 45 and...
Has that come?
Yeah.
Oh, so what's in it? Tell us. Has it got Apple? Has it got Apple? Apple?
Yes, it does. It's got Apple Music. It's got a new Mahjong game, which is awesome, and you can turn on Rainbow Road all the time.
Yay!
For those who can do light show, you can
camera.
Yeah, you can do scheduled light shows, servers. And if you've got a 3 or a Y, you can monitor your pet when you're in pet mode from the mobile app.
But even in Sentry mode, Ken, you don't have to be in dog mode. Even in Sentry mode, it works.
You can see the interior of the car. Yeah, it's cool.
Wow.
And untested yet, because I haven't seen anyone with a Ryzen MCU3, is Zoom calling from your car. That may not be available in Australia. There was a discussion on Discord today. That's the one I haven't confirmed. So if anyone's got an MCU3 car, you can give it a shot and see if you can join Ask Us Anything next week from your car and on the MCU.
So Paul, have you got? Oh no, you don't have Verizon Verizon MCU. Oh, you're doing your wife's Y. Sorry.
Yeah, we don't have the update yet.
Oh right.
Yeah, right.
Gotcha.
And you can. And the other really, really important update is remote fart mode, which is very Elon mental age of 9 kind of feature. So you can fire off fart noises from the mobile app from outside the car. You know, it's awesome.
And you say it's a very 9-year-old thing, but I show it to 50 and 60-year-olds, and they laugh even more than the 9 and 10-year-olds. So I would argue it's a 60-year-olds.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes, because they're at equal mental age, aren't they? Really, that's the whole point, isn't it? It's a continuum where your mental acuity peaks at a certain age and then declines back to nothing again.
Yeah,
that's a bit ageist, Harold.
Yeah.
No, it's just the truth. It's just the truth, Pete. Go, Ken.
That's right. The only other big name feature, which is utterly irrelevant to anyone in Australia, is if you've got an MCU3 car, as in a new Model S or X, you can play Steam games on there from Steam Workshop, which means you can play lots and lots and lots of games, but only if you've got a brand new Model S or X, which of course nobody does in Australia.
No, certainly not. See you, Nigel. We'll see you. Oh, did you get Northern Lights? No, you're not. We're not going to see you because you're going to the Northern. No. Sorry, unmute. Please explain.
At the moment, not?
Go, Nigel.
I was saying goodbye to Shane there because he was saying. He's gotta
sorry,
go.
Shane.
But I am on my way to the Northern Lights at the moment.
Very good.
I'm not sure whether we'll be able to see them by next Wednesday, dear. I can't remember the timetable because we're away for about 5 weeks.
Awesome.
Where are you
Fantastic. So you had so you're on my side of the time zone.
No. I'm actually still in Perth, but because we've got to get up before the Sparrows part, we're actually at a motel up by the airport because it's just down the road. And rather than an hour's drive up by Uber on tomorrow morning at 2 o'clock, we can get up at 3:30, 4 o'clock and scoot down to the airport for the flight.
Fantastic.
And then we'll be in Amsterdam tomorrow.
Awesome.
Where it's a very balmy -3 at the moment. So probably about the same, well, maybe even a bit colder than where you are.
Yes. Well, I'm going to Salzburg tomorrow, so I dare say I'm going to be even colder, but awesome. I look forward to seeing 2 intelligent people on the same side of the hemisphere at once. That'll blow everyone's mind.
Who's the other one? I'm sure you're one. Where's the other one?
Unbelievable.
If we could get 2 together, they might breed. Okay, sorry. Stop it. Okay, sorry, I interrupted someone else in that flow because I just saw Nigel saying goodbye. I didn't realise that was to Shane. But goodbye, Shane, if you're going. But yes.
I've got a question.
Go, Jared.
How was business class?
Well,
yeah.
Emirates / Qantas. The A380 is just amazing. But they did a bait and switch on me on the trip on the leg from Dubai to Vienna. It was an A380 until when we realised that it was actually, they'd switched it to a 777. And if you look at any of the YouTube videos with, say, Nonstop Dan, let's just say in the space of 3 business class seats in the 777, you only have 2 in the A380. So it was nowhere near as good. But yeah, it was mind-blowing, very refreshing to be able to lay down. Actually, one thing that was a bit bad was, you normally shut off your overhead aircon vents because it just gets far too cold. Well, we had unwisely turned ours off and the cabin just got super duper hot to the point of we couldn't sleep because it was just massively hot. Didn't have to resort to then putting the vents on and then it cooled down a little bit. But yeah, it was just really weird. The second leg was quite cool, which is nice. And then on the return trip again, we're getting ripped off. It was going to be an A380, but they've switched it to a 777 to Dubai. But then from Dubai to Perth, it'll be the A380, where we'll probably get a bit messy because we'll celebrate, the last leg. Food was amazing, service amazing. But we're quite refreshed, and it just so happens I've actually got some business to do here for work, which is good. So we were quite refreshed and whatever. But yeah, quite an amazing thing. I definitely recommend anyone does it at least once just to experience it.
Did you spend some time at the bar at the back?
No, we didn't really have time. We're sort of pacing ourselves. And look, you go into the business class lounge at Perth, and you just girt by. When I got photos of, they got a whole liquor cabinet with whole bottles of vodka and stuff. You could just get absolutely plastered before you even get on the plane. So we just wanted to pace ourselves. But it was lovely to have a shower in Dubai. That was quite luxurious to be able to do that. But yeah, I highly recommend anyone does it at least once. But there you go. But that was all good, Jared. All good.
Sure. That's my only question I had. Just save that question up. Great week, great on the weekend, by the way, on the events team. Just wanted to say thanks to Pete, Alex, Richard Chapman, who wasn't there, but he felt like he was there. Some of his rubbish, his laundry was in the back seat of your car, Harold.
Well, actually, that was the last event that my car attended an event, because now it is actually Richard's car. So officially.
Yeah.
So legally, it is legally his car. So,
His cars.
so actually, I must contact Budget Direct and ask for a pro rata refund. Must get onto those guys. Actually, I'm closer to them in Russia than I was in Australia, so I could probably just
on the
go
border.
around the corner and let them know.
Yeah, you just drop into their office.
Oh, look, there it is. Oh, sorry, you just we just missed it. Actually, I'm just going to spotlight you for a moment, provided there's nothing private. Spotlight for everyone.
No.
There. Oh, look at that. There's my ex.
Congratulations, Richard. In good company.
Pete did spend about an hour polishing it.
Yeah, right.
Yes, it's probably going to get cleaned more often than it has.
I don't know. You know, we've got a toddler, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is true. What a great
We used to
looking
clean the
car.
earth a lot more when we didn't have the toddler.
Is the back seat completely full of trucks?
Yeah, it's toys and shit.
Only mine.
Jared, we need to Robin as well, like Alex came all the way down from Mandurah. And Robin even bought some Christmas decorations, which we all put around the car.
Yeah,
so, that was.
Oh yes,
cool.
I did see that. You had a little parade. The Model X actually had some big thing on the front of it with some tinsel, I think it was, from memory.
Yeah, so lots of mums and dads up there with no teeth. They were great.
There was no such people in Wanneroo. You must be getting that from Belmont, Jared.
No, they came from Joondalup. There was all these people from Joondalup there.
You must be thinking of Rockingham.
I was going to say some Rockingham people were there in the crowd.
There was definitely some people there, that's for sure. So
Deary
it
me.
was good.
Deary me.
Good on you,
Apologies
guys.
for those people watching on YouTube. We really don't mean to offend you simultaneously. We try to offend you one at a time to spread it evenly. Alrighty, but so that was the it wasn't a casual meetup, but it was the car expo at Wanneroo. So that was fantastic.
That was a Christmas pageant.
Christmas pageant. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah, Christmas pageant. Yeah.
So that's awesome.
And we even got to have a quick chat with the mayor of the city of Wanneroo.
Yes.
Who's got all her teeth, you'd be glad to know. And she drives the Model 3.
She drives a model. You mean she drives her own Model 3, a Model 3, or
Yes.
she drove?
Yeah.
Oh, right, fantastic.
Proud Model 3 owner and absolutely loves the Model 3.
She had a V8 Holden Ute before she met Pete, and after spending 4 hours with Pete, now she has a Model 3. So that tells you what happened.
So does the city of Wanneroo have charging facilities for employees or councillors?
No, they've got public charges. So there was they're both AC only, but there's two right at the Shire offices, the city of Wanneroo building.
And they're open their public charges.
They're public EOs, from memory.
EOs, correct. Yes.
Yeah, they're EOs. I've played
Awesome.
them before.
Public, and there's 6 that are in the council lobby parking.
Yeah. And they guarantee your tyres won't get stolen while you're getting charged, as long as you're there with your car. So you're right. So.
But to use the Wanneroo ones, because it's front in parking only, so you do need a 7.5 metre cable.
Gotcha.
Sounding right.
So Ken is sharing something which is going to be. Oh, look, there's a pet. There you go. It was tinsel too. I did remember correctly.
Cool.
Yeah.
Looks very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
It was. We had to do the Mardi Gras parade earlier, and then went straight to that after that. So once we did the Mardi Gras, is that
Jared,
right, Pete?
Jared had his mankini on.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Someone had to wear it, I tell you. So
How come
I
I can
was a little
speak
bit short on the day.
Not now.
Oh, sorry. So Norm, I just heard that, or Norm's wife, I just heard that. So you can speak now if you like.
No, it's all right. Thank you. We've just been listening to your conversation.
Oh, that's okay. So I thought you might have been. I thought you might have been frustrated not being able to speak, but you certainly can.
And listen, thank you very much. We're going to hang up, but thank you very much for your help, and we'll be in touch.
And I've sent you a text, Harold.
Oh, yes, I think you have. Let me just check that, confirm that. Yes. Okay, I'll process that once I'm off air. And so what time? When did you want this straight away, don't you? So
Well,
yes, okay, yeah. I'll sort that out It's obviously nighttime in Perth, so I'll have that.
Where are you?
I'm in Vienna.
Oh,
So
Yes.
so
Federal
this
police
is at the front of
looking for Harold
It'll
at the
take a
moment.
while.
of my
Oh.
place.
Yeah.
So
He'll
that's
just pop home to Freo.
Isn't that a little rental, Harold?
that white stuff on the roof opposite there. That's about 300 kilos of cocaine. The Europeans are very progressive. It's just a bit dangerous to go and snort it. That's all. But
So you're in Mexico, okay?
yes, this is the Mexico. Vienna is the Mexico. Is the Medellin of Europe.
I'm resisting making a West
Harold
Coast
will
Eagles
just
comment.
pop home. Yeah, Harold will just pop home, sort out the cable, then he'll go back to Salzburg tomorrow.
I'll do a Bjorn Nyland and I'll fly back. It only take me 20 hours, and yep, I'll extract the.
Concord.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. But no, I'll phone
Harold,
a friend.
Harold, do I pick this charger up from somewhere, do I?
Yes, I'll text you my address. And in fact, I can even put it in the chat because it's not that secret.
Have you just put a brick through the left-hand window?
Oh no, sorry, you can't do chat because you have to write down the phone number. That's right, because you're on a phone.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I will text you my address. It's in Salter Point, and I'll do a dead drop. I'll arrange for it to be just tucked in front of the gate, and you can just go and collect it.
Okay. Lovely.
You can actually do that tomorrow morning. So what I'll do is I'll get someone to help me by discussing something for a minute or two, so I can actually do that straight away. So and so I can concentrate. But yes, so no problem. I will arrange that so you'll be able to pick it up no later than lunchtime tomorrow. Look, let's just make it lunchtime.
Okay.
Tomorrow.
Brilliant, Harold. Thank you
No
so
problem.
much. You're wonderful.
No worries. We always try.
Good night.
All right.
Thanks a
Cheers.
lot.
Take care. Bye. So can someone just discuss something for a couple of moments while I just organise this, please?
Yeah, no worries. So if you just joined us, it's not Ask Us Anything, it's Ask Us for a Lead, starring Oprah Winfrey. And you get a lead, you get a lead, you get a lead, you get a charger, you get a lead. Everyone wins on this show.
You just got to look under your seat.
You just got to look under your seat and, oh, look, I've got a 7.5 minute lead. Everyone's wanted that one. Yeah, you get a lead. Everyone gets a lead.
There's a new
You
new
get a
Tesla
lead. You get a
meetup tomorrow
lead.
in
You get a
Salter
lead.
Point.
I found one. It was on the chair.
Actually, I just got a phone call to make, so just excuse me for 2 moments. But yeah, please do speak amongst yourselves and fill in that little gap.
James has got something to say. Hang on, James.
James.
Tesla meetup Salter Point tomorrow. It's a great hunt. It's going to be about when does this go live on YouTube? There'll be about 40 Teslas driving around Salter Point looking for hidden UMC.
Actually, James, speaking of meetups and 40 Teslas, one of the new features in the holiday update is the ability to synchronize
the light shows. I saw that, Pete.
Oh, yeah, you can sync the light shows up.
Okay. Yeah, light show sync amongst and you can schedule it through the app, so you don't have to be in the car to turn it on. You can turn it on through the app, and you can schedule it for as predetermined time, so you can sync numerous cars to all sync and dance at the same time, which I can't wait to try.
Is that like being a wanker and not being there? Is that what you mean?
When you find the UMC in Salter Point, make sure you do the flight light show remotely so everyone knows it's been found.
It's been located. So, grumpy old man Nigel, what 5-star hotel are you staying at there near the airport?
It's called the El Grotto Motel.
El Grotto.
El Grotto.
Is that one of the six
just
Astray
very,
hotels?
very cheap, and you get what you pay for. But at least they got Wi-Fi.
Is that hookers on the other side of the next room next to you and drug dealers on the other side?
No.
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 We didn't realise that it was an hourly rate though.
Yeah, there's a couple of dodgy hotels on the Great Eastern Highway Strip. So,
You know, $15 is good for a night, but it wasn't that for an hour.
Yeah, that comes with bed bites, a bed mice or whatever it is.
Oh yeah, that's pretty cool, eh? We could do that as a club.
Yeah, let's do it.
I've been talking about it for a while.
What are you talking about? Pete's got 20 cars at home. He can do it at home. Probably see
Yeah,
it from-
exactly.
You see it, NASA could see it from space. Oh, Pete's got the light show going in his house. There you go. And a smoke machine. All right, when we do it, I'll bring a smoke machine. I've got one.
I've got one too. I got one too.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
Double the trouble.
No, you have to have the smoke.
Got
Yeah,
it.
you got a smoke machine.
That'd be cool.
Hey, cool. That's pretty cool.
That is awesome.
Yeah, because the lights have picked up the beams. The smoke picks up the beams. That's really cool.
Anyway, that's quite enough of that.
You might need to bring some lights as well, Jared.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so a bit of background mood
Something
lighting.
underneath the car, shooting underneath from the car. That actually looks really cool.
Because what everyone needs to see with an EV is smoke coming out from underneath it.
Hey, Pete,
what
I'm
you
looking
need.
through the app now. Do you know where you enable it, the light show from the app?
Ooh, that's a good question, Damo. I presume it'd be on the controls.
This is a Paul question. Paul knows everything, all the apps.
I haven't
Paul-
got the latest update yet.
Oh, what the
No,
hell?
only up.
I have for the app,
update
but not.
a few hours ago, Paul.
Yeah, but I don't think it's in 25.1 yet. So you would have 25.1, would you, Damo?
25. Look, I got
45.25.1? Sorry, 44.25.
44.2. I got.
Got 44.22.
Yeah, so that's the latest.
No, the latest is latest in Australia. Well, latest in WA, as far as I know, is 44.25.1. Only one of those.
44.25.1, Pete.
Yeah, that's the one.
you
So,
got it.
I don't think
And that-
it's in that one
so-
as yet, Damo.
So the way synchronized light show works, you don't do it from the app. When you set it up inside the car, you choose a time synchronized to 1/10 of a second, and then walk away, and they all fire off at that nominated time. So
Oh, that's cool.
That's gonna
The
be
app
cool.
version I've
You
got
can
is
line up 40 cars in
4.15.3.
South Perth. That's
Yeah.
a great. Just shoot it off. We should do that. Do
Yeah,
like a
do it.
night. Yeah, that's a great idea. Hang on. Jürgen's back. Jürgen, you're welcome
Jürgen.
back to us. Jürgen, welcome back. Your gloves on?
Actually, sorry, I'm going to actually just excuse me for one moment. I've just got a prop to put on. Just hang on.
You know, hang on a sec. Stand by.
he's got a prop.
Stand by.
That's a worry.
He's in the red light district. He's got a dress on. Going on here.
You haven't lent him your mankini, have you,
No, I
Jared?
gave him a pair of socks to put down the front to make it look a bit bigger. So
There's some serious
Yeah.
hygiene issues there.
I know,
surely, you
definitely
it's-
serious. I had a bit of what do you call that, soreness in your toes, tinea. So that should go right to his.
There we go.
Here we go. Wait for it.
He's back.
There he comes. Here he
Here it
comes.
comes. Here it comes.
Here he comes. This is what happens when you
Okay.
right.
All right. So I got my hat,
Yuri.
Isn't that cold?
Yeah, you drive tractor, Yuri. You
and I've
drive
got the
tractor.
gloves, so there's no fingerprints. No fingerprints.
For rocket launchers.
Exactly.
Rocket launcher. Okay, Yuri. There you go.
But I'm in short sleeves because I got the heat sort of cranking. It's probably about 18 degrees in here, so it's pretty luxurious.
Oh,
Nice. Very nice.
Anyway,
Well, you're missing Perth, Harold. It was 30 degrees today. Yesterday was minus 22 and raining.
it was fucking cold. It was horrible.
It was like winter yesterday. I don't
Do you
know
want-
what was going on.
do you want cold? Something look, I'm ignorant of snow because of, we live in Australia and you just don't have any snow there. Well, not in WA. But on the Monday, which was a bit fraught because not very many things went right, it was, I don't know how to describe it. It was just pissing down snow. It was just, and one thing I never thought of is snow gets in your eyeballs. Like the flakes hit your eyeballs and it kind of hurts. It's out of control. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
But last night was pretty good. We went to the Christmas markets at Stephansplatz, which is St. Stephen's Cathedral, and we had lots of Glühwein, which is mulled wine. So and it's all over the place. And then you have like goulash soup that's in a scooped out bun. So it's like this big roll, and they scoop it out, and then they put goulash soup in there, and you got like a spoon and slop it out. And yeah. Anyway.
Oh, that sounds.
So Pete, I'm just having all of that hearty goulash and sauerkraut and Hefeweizen, so wheat beer and mulled wine, gingerbread and.
Yeah. Harold, I'm going to be in Amsterdam tomorrow, and we're just going to have coffee and cookies.
Special cookies. Yes.
Cookies.
Well, yes, that's right. Vienna is the cocaine roof capital of the world, and Amsterdam is the cookie capital. Absolutely, cookie capital.
Seeing as I've got to be up in a few hours again, I'm going to say nighty-night, and I expect I'll be in Bergen next Wednesday. So
very good.
Yeah.
Hey, Nigel, where are you flying tomorrow? From where to where?
Well, would you believe I've got to go to Melbourne before we go to Abu Dhabi?
Yeah. Okay. So you're flying Etihad, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So you're doing Perth to Melbourne, Melbourne to Etihad, and
then on to Amsterdam. But we've got a night stop in Abu Dhabi because they changed the effing flights on us. So we've now got about 11 and a half hours in Abu Dhabi overnight. But we've booked a hotel.
Oh, so you can have a bit of a rest and get a bit more acclimatized.
Yeah, we landed about 10:30 at night and take off at 9:30 in the morning. So we booked the hotel at the airport. So
yeah,
we'll
nice.
just have
a
good kick there and then jump back into the airport and have breakfast in the lounge.
Oh, so Nigel, here's a little competition. Let's see who's the first one in the Northern Hemisphere to sit in a Model S Plaid.
Oh, yeah. But not sit in it. I want to see how fast the bloody thing will take off.
No, I've sussed that out. I don't think I can get a test drive, but on the 20th, they're going to have cars at the Vienna, or at least a car at the Vienna retail outlet, whatever you call it, showroom. So
maybe I'll have to send Bjorn Nyland a message to say, I'm in Bergen, just pop over to Oslo, will you?
Yep, that's right. Say long-term fan. You've never actually spoken to him, but long-term fan, and you like to sit in one.
Yes,
but yes, Damo, eat your heart out. I will make sure that by the 20th I'll be sitting in a Plaid S, at least sitting in it.
You had to do it.
Anyway, I'll see you all next week.
Take care, Nigel. Safe flight, mate. Cheers.
Is that the Northern Lights I can see behind you?
No, yes, it is, but it's not his real ones. They're the ones he wants to see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so Nigel's going for a cruise along the coast of Norway up towards the top, past the Arctic Circle to see the Northern Lights, hopefully.
Oh, excellent.
Should be very specky.
Yeah.
Now, sorry, James, I thought you might have said something before. I sort of lost the.
You went to the hardware. Do they do a sausage sizzle or is it a bratwurst sizzle? What do they do there at the Obi hardware?
Actually, it's funny because, actually, my wife Rochelle sort of said, whereas Bunnings have a sausage sizzle, actually right next to the Obi or almost attached to the building is like it's like a Baker's Delight sort of, but they've got so many different types of donuts and stuff and normal bread as well, but they've also got sandwiches like various ham and stuff, whatever sandwiches, but yeah, it's funny, it's just like Bunnings. So I've got lots of things I've got to do in this apartment, and they've got everything. It's just like Bunnings. It's just that rather than a green color scheme, it's an orange color scheme, and it's called Obi. Cool thing is, yesterday when we went there, we used what do you call it? A checkout person, a person to the checkout. But of course, just like Bunnings, they've got a self checkout, so you just go on the zap the barcodes, and I've actually got myself an Austrian debit card. So you just blip that with PayWave, which now has come to Europe. I think Australia was actually one of the first countries to adopt full PayWave.
Before America.
Well before America. America still these days do the old mag stripe, and they still do the sign. And I think the reason why they get people to sign the receipt is because often they have a tip thing, so it gives an opportunity to put a tip, and then when you sign it, it gets added to the bill. But anyway, so this Obi is just like it. But there are no sausage sizzles, because let's just say that if you have a sausage in the outside that was hot, it doesn't take long to cool down in -5 degrees. We had mulled wine in this Christmas market, and what they do is the mulled wine costs €4.90, so it's about $8. But there's the mug that you get. It's got the Stephansplatz, the cathedral, whatever, and Christmassy theme on it. And the mug is a €5 deposit. So if you bring it back, you get your €5 back. Or you can just keep going back for refills. And something I just remembered, was this lady had returned two mugs back and had gotten her €10 back. And the lady behind the bar who was serving people, she just drank the dregs. And it's like, really?
Oh.
So this is from two strangers, and she didn't want to waste anything, and I guess that's her little bonus tip, is she drank the drinks. I thought, well, that's pretty classy. But hey, it's alcohol, so it's probably perfectly sanitized or whatever. But anyway.
Hey Harold, is it right-hand drive or left-hand drive where you're going to be?
The left-hand drive demo. It's this. They drive on their steering wheels, they drive on the right-hand side of the road, which is the wrong side, because the left side is the right side, like we do. And Thailand, by the way, so that was a bit of news as well, that Thailand officially opened, and surprise, surprise, they opened to massive orders, because there's a lot of pent-up demand in Thailand. And Bjorn Nyland himself, he actually bought a grey imported Model 3 that comes via Hong Kong, because obviously that's a right-hand drive market as well, steering wheel right-hand drive, and he said he paid about 3.5 million baht. I forget that must be about I don't actually know, to be honest. I think it's northwards of about $100,000.
A Model 3 performance like mine is, I worked it out to be about $8,000 Australian cheaper in Thailand than what it is here.
Yeah, a lot of that would be luxury car tax, probably, at a guess, and also our higher stamp duty. But basically, so Bjorn Nyland had bought a grey imported Model 3 for 3.5 million baht, and now the equivalent you can get from Tesla officially is 2.5 million. So he actually said that he had a bit of a feeling or a tip-off that Tesla would be launching in Thailand soon. And I guess from his point of view, it happened just at a perfect timing. So yeah, I mean, that's great news, because it also provides more demand for the right-hand drive market. So it's just a good thing to happen, and it's good for Tesla as well.
100%.
Yeah, because they had 10,000.
7% sales in Australia.
So say again, James.
7% was that last week or was that this week? EVs are now 4.7% of all.
4.7. Okay, cool. So if that was, it's a bit early in the month, so I presume that would be is that a November figure, perhaps?
November. So I think it's going to be higher in December.
Oh, okay. Yes, because I did see Vita Prime had tweeted out that he had tweeted out about a ship that had arrived on the eastern seaboard somewhere, and said that there were 13 others arriving in Australia this month. Or perhaps 12 others. So it might have been the first one of 13, or 13 others, whatever, one or the other. Still a lot.
Yeah, they're bloody everywhere now. They really
are. They absolutely
I'm
are.
looking and I'm going, oh,
Like percentage is the tipping point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more, because as they get more and more common and more people have them, more and more of their friends will see them and understand that it's a car, particularly the Model Y, it's a car with zero compromises, and the pull factor is huge.
Yeah, I was talking to my new boss today, and she was talking about a friend of hers. Their kid is learning to drive in the Tesla. So that's their...
Yeah, right. Yep. Well,
and
my
you're just
kids...
going, oh, yeah.
I've got 3 kids, and Rochelle's got 1, and all 4 of those kids learnt to drive a car in a manual car. But I dare say that they will be the absolute minority even now.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just a big hassle to teach a kid in a manual car.
Yeah,
so
they were saying the majority are now automatic licenses.
Yeah,
it's not like back in our day.
Oh, back in the day, double the clutch.
Learn on the manual. Yeah.
If you can't find it, find it, grind it.
Find it, grind it. Yeah, my first car was a Tirana LX, 3 on the tree.
Oh, 3. So, Richard, I'll get to you in 2 seconds. 3 on the tree. I had an XC, and you use your left hand, of course, for 3 on the tree. But I broke my shoulder on the last day of uni in first year because I was having a little rest, so to speak, because I had a few too many beers, and I was having a rest on the oak lawn at UWA, and this guy decided to fall on me, and and he was pretty big, and I heard this huge crunch, and that crunch was my collarbone, but I was still a bit tired. But then one of my mates said, "Oh, come on, we'd better go to hospital." And I'm like, "Oh, I really rather just have a continued rest," but I did. Anyway, it was broken. And I was in a St. John sling with the left arm, up to here, with 3 on the tree with your right hand,
Holy crap, that'll be,
Because and I didn't have anything to hold my steering wheel, so I had to do pretty quick changes. But anyway, sorry. So Richard, you were saying to say.
Oh, I'm not making any point that no one else has thought of, but it's just annoying that for things like work, like particularly in mining or anything, certain legacy industries are going to take their time to change over, and they're not going to have, and it's going to be useful to have a manual license.
Yeah.
And potentially, you might not get a job if you don't have it.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, absolutely. I guess it's that classic cusp of changing over. I think if you wanted to get, no one really gets them much these days, but if you wanted to get a ham radio license, an amateur radio license, one of the tests to actually get like a VK, 6, blah, 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 call sign to be legitimate, one of the required tests is Morse code. And no one uses Morse code in standard communications. They haven't used it for decades. Clearly for emergency purposes in the military and other things, it's still your most basic form of, emergency communication. Even by just repeatedly keying up your radio, you can do Morse. But yeah, so I guess it's that classic thing, isn't it, Richard, where some industries just aren't as progressive and they just don't realise that it's just not needed until the last bastion sort of stops it and, realises. Isn't it a little bit like in trucking? I don't know that many of the modern trucks have crash gearboxes anymore, so you don't need to do double clutching. In fact, many trucks probably have fully automatic gearboxes, or at least semi-automatic, and at least synchro.
Yeah, because when I did my synchro, I didn't even need it because it was automatic trucks at work, so it was sort of like a waste of time.
When I got my B class, which it was at the time before I got upgraded to heavy rigid, it was in like an F-150, like an F truck, and even though it had full synchro, you had to still demonstrate double clutching just to show that you could.
Yeah.
But anyway, cool. Alrighty, so I'm just going to check what the time is because for me it's broad daylight.
It's like 9:30.
So it's funny. So if you guys get all tired, and I'll be going, why are you all tired?
9:30. It's 9:30.
Oh, 9:30. Oh, we got plenty of time. We're still rocking on. I've still got an hour and a half. And then actually, one strange thing here is actually it's pretty dull at the moment, but the sun goes down here at 4 o'clock. It gets up at 7:30 and goes to bed at sort of like old person's time at 4 o'clock. But,
Where are you?
In Vienna. In Vienna,
Well,
in
I
Austria.
didn't know that happened in Vienna.
Yeah, well, it's still fairly north, and I must admit, when you're in the middle of the day, at midday, the sun is sort of 30 degrees up in the air. It's not even 45. It's noticeably low. There's just not a lot of sun. But in summer it's the opposite.
It happens in Helsinki, but I thought you were a little bit further south. Maybe
Oh,
not.
absolutely am. But I don't know what my latitude is, but it's probably in the deep 40s, if not 45 degrees or probably more than that. But Helsinki more so. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So have you had sahatot yet?
No, kind of sakatorta. No sakatorta yet. We've only been here. This is our third night.
Okay. Next to the Klimt Gallery in the downtown shopping, and the Klimt Gallery is quite interesting.
Yes.
There is the best sahatot place to go to.
Was that from the Hotel Saka, the actual original one, or is that a different place? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've been to the Hotel Saka. I've been to Vienna a couple of times, so we've sort of done the bit because I got an amazing underground transport system. You just hop in the underground. One of the trains we caught yesterday, they had like 3-minute intervals, and at worst they are about 5-minute intervals between the same trains. So
I know, it's unreal.
It is, yeah, absolutely. And it is a bit of a relief because in the underground it's probably about, 10 degrees, which is quite warm, compared to the -4 or 5. And when it's windy, it just cuts everywhere. It just cuts into you big time. That's why you got to drink lots of mulled wine or blue wine, and have lots of hearty. Klar Rindsuppe mit Frittaten. So that's a clear beef soup with chopped up pancakes, but they're not sweet pancakes. They're no sugar. Or you can have semolina dumplings or liver dumplings, Leberknödelsuppe. It's yummy. Anyway, I'm just getting Pete all emotional. So all I can say to you, Pete, is come over here and shake your head and fill yourself up with some sauerkraut, some nice Würstel, and oh mate, some Hefeweizen beer.
Last time I was there was I met my brother in Prague, and my wife was with me. And to this day, she tells the stories how my brother and I would be, sampling all these, having all these goulashes and, knedle in Czech, and knedlo vepřozelo, which is the pork, the
knuckle,
cabbage, and dumpling, which is the Czech national dish, and all these, cabbage soup, and and she was pregnant at the time, so she was nauseous at the time. And we didn't help things, but she couldn't participate at all in any of these great foods that we were tasting and eating.
So what's the one where you've got stuffed cabbage leaves with, is it rice? I mean, you do it several different ways.
Yeah, the paprika.
They get the paprikas as well. Yeah, the what do you call it?
Beef mince. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, it's just fabulous. It's just. Oh, anyway, so I'll be soaking that up in Salzburg and just getting as much hearty Central European food into me and.
We spent about 9 months, only a few K out of Salzburg. Actually, I think we talked about it. Ask Us Anything.
Probably have.
During all European winters for about 20 years.
I was going to title this episode how you have Christmas in July. Well, this is sort of like winter in December episode.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
anyway. Cool. All right. So has anyone got any Tesla related news or questions or anything that else has happened or news items that I've missed apart from the new Christmas software update?
Well, I was reading a good article today which had the headline of Tesla has had one of its most the most successful year that it's had to date. Yeah, the share price is down 60%.
Oh, yes.
You know, financial metric with, profits or earnings. So earnings are up, deliveries are up, production is up. Everything's at record levels, except the share price, which is at a 2-year low.
Yeah, I know. It's like 160 or something.
I tried to bring it up, but it didn't work. So what are they at? Oh, 160.95. Wow. What a bargain.
Oh, I'm crying because I don't have enough money to get some.
Yep, I'm all
I
in.
Spent it all on the last drop.
Yeah.
I think I've got another week. I'll have a bit more cash liquid for that.
Well, that of course, we've got to preface, well, not preface, because we've already just said it. We've got to post-face it, whatever that's called, with this.
The previous comments were general in nature and shouldn't be taken as personal professional advice. Listeners should seek their own independent assessment from a qualified advisor and not rely on the general nature of information in this program.
Not sure if that works, sorry, because I can't hear that, but I don't know if you guys could.
Okay. It worked. And we didn't
cool.
tell other people to buy shares. We were just telling ourselves to buy shares.
That's right. We're just a echo chamber of Tesla fanboys and fangirls.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Looking at the fundamentals, like you saw in China, you know how they were dribbling on about it reducing, production, and they've been increasing the amount of how many they've been selling.
I think that the insurance numbers for
Rob Mauer
were 30,000. Yeah.
It was crazy. It's just like all the short sellers must be feeding these media outlets, because you're just going. You look at every metric and Tesla's just kicking it out of the park, even with Elon off doing his Twitter crap thing, and it just shows that Tesla's in a good spot, that they don't technically need Elon anymore,
Not according to the stockbrokers.
Well, the thing is, in the short term, the share market is a voting machine, and in the long term, it's a weighing machine. And like many analysts have said, Tesla is getting into that zone of PE compression, and there's got to be a time. What's it going to be? 10 to 1? Price earnings are 10 to 1, and then what?
It's 30 to 1 at the moment, which is, the PEG ratio, the price to earnings,
growth,
the growth, is 1.5 or something. So even then, that's historical, 1.53 or something.
Yep.
So every quarter that comes in, that if nothing happens to the share price, that just gets compressed more and more. So
you look at James Stevenson's stuff. I've been watching his stuff, and it was showing how much we've earned already this year was already more than last year.
First 3 quarters, that's correct.
Yeah, first 3 quarters has already outstripped it, and it's a pure exponential of everything, all metrics. It's just crazy that no one's picking it up except us fan guys and girls.
For anyone looking at James Stevenson's stuff, there was one video that was a bit disappointing, I must say, and that was, before I saw that video, what I really liked about James's stuff is when you look into his more future projections, like through 2025 onwards, the figures just got ridiculously great. And I thought, wow, that's just amazing. Until he actually cited in one of his videos that I think from 2024 or 2025 onwards, he is actually projecting that Tesla's average extra revenue per car due to full self-driving is $20,000 US. And I've got to say, at least in my humble opinion, I think that's optimistic. But I know, Pete, you're about to say that's pessimistic or conservative. but I'm just...
the reason why I'd say it's conservative is because By 2025, I'd like to think that FSD will be fully fledged out. And Elon has said that when it's fully fledged out, it's going to be worth $100,000 US, just that chip. So, and the take-up rate is going to be so much greater. You know, the more features it has, the more reliable it is, the more desirable it is, naturally. So the take-up rate will be faster. They'll probably won't sell it at that point. You won't be able to buy it outright anymore. You'll only be able to, you know, hire it for $200, $300, $400 a month. And yeah, I mean, $400 a month. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, and this is only my own personal opinion. I bought a Tesla Model X. Well, I ordered one in 2013, and it was built in 2016 in about November. Thankfully, just after Elon Musk had announced Autopilot version 2, which is the one that Tesla did themselves, not the Mobileye version. And at the presentation, which was probably in September or October 2016, Elon Musk said that by the end of the next year, that they would do a demonstration full self-driving run from Los Angeles or San Francisco to New York. Right? I owned that car for nearly 6 years of having it delivered, and it was actually more than 6 years old because it was built in November 2016. So I've owned that car and also a Model S, which had full self-driving that I'd paid for. So I bought Autopilot. I then bought Enhanced Autopilot. I then bought full self-driving. And in the 6 years that Elon Musk had said that was coming just around the corner, I held that car for nearly 6 years and sold it without ever seeing full self-driving, ever.
Well, you know what's going to happen now.
Well, hang on, but no one can accuse me. No one can accuse me of holding this car for a short period of time. Like 6 years is actually a very reasonable time to hold on to a car.
I'm actually a little bit disappointed in it, Harold. Like 12 months, we haven't had one like new feature or anything, you know, like anything at all.
No, we have, Domo. We have. No, we've had. You can look at your car's surround cameras live, which is actually a great feature.
No, I'm talking about FSD, Harold. Like,
yes, well, that's true. So I'm just taking a contrarian view, and I know Pete is about to explain that I ironically might be that last person that has experienced is to experience this, and that we are on the cusp, and that is probably true. But go, Pete, you say that in your own words.
Oh no, I was just going to mention that. Don't forget that the branch of software that we're on, Tesla has ceased development on that 3, 4, 5 years ago. So that's why we're not getting any updates. But if you're in the US or Canada, you'd be getting updates every 2 or 3 weeks, especially if you're one of the lucky 160,000 odd people that are on FSD Beta. But Elon did say that he's going to make it available to anyone who wants it in the US by year end. And that looks like it's happening. He did also say he's going to make it available internationally or in other markets. I don't think he said internationally. I think he had said in other markets. So I don't know if that means all other markets or some other markets, but he did say it will be available in other markets for, you know, for selected people. So I presume those that have got a good score. By the end of the year.
I wonder if I'll own it for 6 years and have the same experience, Harold.
Probably.
I highly doubt it, Richard. You'll have it for 6 weeks and you'll get FSD Beta update, and then you'll start driving around Perth, you know, without any interventions, going around roundabouts and waving to Harold as you go past the traffic lights.
We'll see, mate.
I don't regret paying the
I love
$10.
navigating Autopilot is amazing.
Oh yes. So for everyone that's not aware, Richard has, well, I'm going to say, been doomed to have to put up with Mobileye, which initially was so vastly better than my Model X when I first got it. My Model X when I first got it was like a 3-year-old driving it. Was scary. And in fact, I've actually on my own YouTube channel, which only has like 3 or 4 videos on it. I showed it on autopilot going around the Manning ramp, off ramp of the freeway, and there's like a hard concrete barrier, and you can actually see the infrared, the ultrasonic warning things go from yellow to orange to red, and my wing mirror was actually over the top of the concrete barrier, so it was sort of on top of it. And it was such an amazing, scary thing that I put it on YouTube because at that time it was scary. But now that's just routine, it just does it all the time.
I don't regret spending the money, but I just feel like in the last 12 months, because I've had the car a year now on the 9th, so it's just gone a year. I just think he could have given us something, like for all of us that dropped the big money on it. But yeah, it's what it is, I suppose. But yeah, I just feel he could have given us something, Harold.
Well, you've waited a sixth of the time I've waited, Damo. So maybe you'll only have to wait a third of the time in total. Yeah. And like Pete said, and it's true, what we have is autopilot. That software stack, that the neural network portion is very small, and what's called the C++, the hard computer programming to try and achieve all of the stuff is very large part. And in the actual FSD beta stack, the neural part is actually far, far bigger, is a majority of the whole, a portion of the program. And the logical C++ stuff or C+ stuff is a lot smaller. So look, as soon as that drops, all you got to do is look at some of the FSD beta videos, demonstration videos, where they go into tight, windy roads that we can't only imagine, and it just drives amazingly well. And
it's amazing.
But we just don't see that. For us, all we have to do is go through an intersection with a few curvy, dotted white lines, and the car freaks out and gets confused and changes lanes at the drop of a hat. FSD beta stack just doesn't do that.
I'm in a couple of FSD groups on Facebook from the USA, and one of them's got a few Tesla employees there in it, and the FSD beta, I don't know, pre-version or something for the employees only dropped yesterday.
Yep.
So
yeah.
So,
oh, no worries, Jared. Thanks for coming on, mate. Take care. See you next week.
Jared.
I've got to get up early tomorrow to set up a hot dog van at front of Harold's house. All the people that are picking up their leads tomorrow.
Awesome. I'll have onions, please, and sauerkraut. Cheers. Take care, Jared. See you, mate.
See you, buddy.
See ya.
One point to make is it's not like, this has been done before. It's not like you're asking someone, how long is it going to take you to build this fence? We've built millions of fences. We know what's involved. We know how long it's going to take. They're breaking new ground. It's a bit like asking James Cook, when are you going to discover this new land? You said you would do it within a month. It's been 3 months and you still discovered nothing. So, they're breaking new ground, and they're breaking new ground with software. And anything with software, well, at least in my experience, if the developer says it's going to take a week, just work on 5 or 6 weeks. Just, it's always, 5 or 6-fold, if not, 10-fold longer.
Hey, Pete, I sent you a couple of photos. Can you share them? Because I'm on my phone.
Sure.
That's what dropped yesterday from a Tesla employee.
Okay. Are you texting it, Damo?
Yeah, I've sent it MMS.
All right.
Now
I'm going to go to bed as well. No.
All right, Paul, take care, mate.
Paul.
Cheers. What I should have done is Ben C actually put a question in text in the chat quite a while ago, and unfortunately I didn't see it until just recently, and that was, is anyone brave enough to call the bottom? That would be that's not the bottom of the performance of the autopilot, because we're already well past that, but the bottom of the share price. And I mean, Pete, you're an ex share trader. what's that very famous saying about picking the bottom of a market, and how does that done?
You don't do it because you might end up with a smelly finger.
and obviously to put a bit more flesh on that bone, you can only pick it in retrospect. That's the classic thing, isn't it? Unless you're Nostradamus,
Yeah.
sorry. You can only pick it in retrospect. I actually personally thought that 180 was getting pretty cheap, but hey, the voting machine said let's go 160, and perhaps we might find 150, and that's being a bit of a technical trader, which is I haven't got my my BS button on this setup, but technical trading is done by people that have worked out algorithms. The only reason why some of it works is because everyone else is using the same algorithm, so it almost is a self-fulfilling prophecy. But who knows? What I do know is in 5 years' time, the share price won't be anything like it is now. Oh, and this is someone sharing. Sorry,
so this is Damo's photos that he's asked me to share.
Oh,
well, there you go. 10.6933.
Ah,
Nice.
very good. Very good.
Early access program, and that's from a Tesla employee.
And what's the VIN on the car? No, it's just off the screen. That's a shame. No VIN for obvious reasons. No, very good. I mean, the thing is, this new FSD beta versions, these have got the unified stack, so it's the single neural stack. And like Peter said, actually, I forget what it was. Was it AI Day? Not AI Day. What was the other thing? No, it was AI Day, where the people were describing that some of these neural networks have only been really published a year ago, like less than a year ago, as being discovered. I forget what it must be Andrej Karpathy talking about them on a different podcast. Not convolutional. Is it transformer? Might be transformer neural networks. This stuff is in academia is very, very fresh. And it just so happens that it's really good at doing what Tesla needs doing. So they really are making new progress, every day.
Breaking new ground. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is something that's massively hard. It probably makes, energy positive nuclear fusion look easy, So.
But it's very hard if you haven't done it. But once they solve it, 5
it'll be obvious.
10 years,
Yeah.
It's like GPS was incredibly hard, and now it's in everyone's phone. So. Yeah.
Well, that's right. Any surveyors out there? Peter Shipp, he actually is an old surveyor or a retired surveyor, and in his day, when he was first starting out, there was zero GPS, so it was all done on first principles. But even when he was probably a middle-aged surveyor, with the first GPS units, they cost $100,000. They had a battery that was bigger than a backpack, and probably took half an hour to get a single proper reading. And even then, it wasn't supremely accurate. Then you had to use differential GPS off a known datum. Now you're in your phone. Actually, in my watch, it's got its own GPS. So by definition, you might bet lost, but at least you'll know what latitude and longitude you are. You might not know necessarily where that is on a map, but you'll know what it is, and you can tell it to someone.
In a couple of years' time, your Neuralink might have GPS built in. at least via comms.
Unless you wear a foil hat, and then it will block the signal. But
I remember this time last year, a couple of weeks after I got the car, I remember Elon saying somewhere that there was a big FSD update coming for international users in March or April, I think he said. And nothing happened.
No, Damo, it is. No, it's coming next March and April. So
George knows about it because I harassed him for weeks before that one happened. Oh, the new update's coming, for international users, and nothing happened.
Yes, well, yeah, exactly. But look, it is March. It's just March next year, and if it's not March next year, it'll be the one after. Don't you worry about that.
There's
Just like
two
the play.
things.
Go, Pete.
No, there's two things that I always remind myself. Number one, don't bet against Elon. Number two, as he says, look, everything I say, I end up delivering. It's just that I might be late on a couple of things. So, and you can't blame him. Like I said, what's the alternative? Would you rather him sandbag everything and tell you, that he doesn't think it's going to be here for the next 10 years, and then, it shows up in 2 years' time? Or would you rather him give you an honest opinion of what he thinks is the most likely time, it will come at that point in time? And like you said, there's nothing that he knows of that has had more false dawns than the full self-driving software. So, look, he's obviously been, he's admitted he got it wrong. He thought he was, about to be solved, and then, it was thrown a curveball. But, they adapt, they change, they push on, and, they'll eventually work it out.
I truly believe that he will deliver, like he has to. And I know that he will deliver, but I just wish that he was a bit more accurate on his timeframes, that's all. But
yeah, I think Damo, he's trying to predict something that's unpredictable. He was literally trying to when he first predicted it, they only then later come to understand that what they thought was a solution was a bit of a false dawn, and they had to then level up and put more resources into it. So, and it's not, he was using the best knowledge at the time. So, and really he is doing something. He is basically trying to emulate a human brain. And as our brains are terrible at things that computers can do so trivially, but the neural network architecture is universal. A baby knows almost nothing when it's born, but then learns everything, very quickly. And it's just those things that they're basically trying to emulate significant parts of a brain. And a brain's had hundreds of millions of years of evolution to get itself worked out. And we've got thousands or tens of thousands of more neurons in a brain than say the FSD computer has. But look, to be honest, look, if you just drive down the freeway or down any major road, the car does pretty well, And again, this is the stack this is not the FSD stack. This is version 0.001 of what is currently driving around. But look, I hear you, Damon.
It's been pulling up pretty hard at red lights for the last sort of couple of.
Yes,
I'm not sure why it's doing it. If I've got no cars there, it pulls up nice. But if there's some cars sitting at the lights, really screaming up fast behind them, I've got to keep an eye on that. I might even lodge a ticket about it. It's really pulling up hard to the lights. It starts decelerating. A bit too late for my liking. I've taken it back a couple of times, taken control of it.
I agree, but you know how Tesla works: 2 steps forward, 1 step back.
Yeah, I started doing that. Before it started doing that, it was pulling up the lights beautiful.
Yes, but
this is the 1 step back.
Yeah. But bearing in mind, as Pete's already said, we are still dealing with effectively a limb of the software development that's for all intents and purposes ceased, and we're all just waiting to port onto the new FSD. And look, and that's for people with FSD. For those that don't, what will happen is autopilot will still be autopilot, but it will be on this new software stack, which is vastly superior. So, look, it's coming. No one knows. In North America, they're about to get it in wide release. If in Australia it takes another 3 to 6 months or 12 months, who knows? It's not up to us, obviously, and not necessarily up to.
Got to play the game too, don't they?
Yeah, and to be fair, I think we've been fairly progressive, more progressive, say, than the Europeans, who are very restrictive on what autopilot's doing. Although I must admit, I haven't noticed anything myself yet that's been super restrictive, but I haven't driven a lot yet either. But yeah, it's just a matter of different jurisdictions having different regulations.
How does it go, Harold, with sharper, tighter turns?
Well, it's fun, and as I was speaking those words, I was going, well, actually, and that's why I said it's actually not as bad as I thought, because there's a turn where it's basically like a hairpin where you're changing direction from one sort of, not really freeway, but it's within Vienna. But anyway, you're basically doing a 270-degree turn, and it's fairly tight, and it took it on autopilot the whole way. And I was actually surprised, because I thought there was a steering wheel angle limit that basically, so but then on the other hand, what I've also heard is there's a steering pressure limit. So if it requires a certain amount of steering pressure or beyond a threshold, it then gives up. But like I said, it took this 270-degree tight, I'd call it a hairpin corner.
Were you going fairly slow, or?
Oh yeah, well the speed limit's 50 k's an hour on that, because it's really tight, and it took the whole way. And to be honest, I've in my car at my Model Y in Perth, when you go from Leach Highway to Tonkin Highway south, in other words, towards the international airport, or say towards Armidale, or whatever you want to call it, that's a 180-degree. No, that's a 270. That's also 270. So you're turning left until you go under yourself, and it's basically a 3/4 turn, and many times it runs out of puff and it sort of like disengages, or it actually straddles the white line. It goes over the white line on the outside and then sort of gives up, or you give up because you're sick of it sort of going into emergency stopping lane. And it's done that many times in my Y, and that's a much gentler bend than what I experienced in Vienna yesterday and today. So
interesting.
But I have, Europe is notorious for they've even retrospectively reached into Tesla and said, we want you to limit the scope of this feature. And they've done that after it was released, and then Tesla have had to walk it back. So I don't know whether Europe's getting a bit more progressive, or maybe I was just lucky on this turn. I'm not sure. But I'll find out soon enough when I drive to Salzburg tomorrow, and Hallstatt, and go to the salt mine, so I can actually say that I've gone back to the salt mine. But anyway, sorry Pete, you're getting all teary there. It's all good. And I'll have plenty of Glühwein, plenty of Hefeweizen beer. By the way, you can go to the shop, which is just around the corner. I bought a 500 milliliter can of wheat beer. Yeah. And it costs, and full retail, absolute massive full retail.
And that was in the supermarket.
In a supermarket, just bought one. And I think that was €1.80, I think it was. And I bought my wife a piccolo of, fizzy goon, basically, Prosecco, say. That whole entire purchase cost less than €4. Just one, 2 casual drinks at a supermarket.
Not bad.
So
$6.
So that's $6 for two drinks, which probably represent 4 standard drinks for $6. Oh, and by the way, when you're at the Christmas markets and you drink, mulled wine and stuff, you do it out on the street. Like, you walk around like a grown up. You go to a hot dog stand or a Würstel stand, and you just go and buy a beer, and you can just walk down the street drinking a beer, because we're all grown ups. Yeah. Anyway,
are you expecting snow on the roads getting up to Salzburg? Or
yeah, I think so. There was the first night. So the first day we got here, it was snowing, and it snowed quite heavily, where cars had probably more than an inch of snow in one. It was the first day it snowed. Monday, for a long time. And like I said, most
Have you
cars
got
had at least. No, but I got winter tires. So no, you won't need. We're not going anywhere high. We might go to Dachstein, but even that, you know, you go to the base of the mountain and then you go up. So all of the big stuff like the Großglockner, which is, I think, that's certainly Austria's tallest mountain, and where the Franz Josef Glacier is, that road's actually completely closed for winter because it's just too snowy. I mean, there's a whole resort there that is only open in summer, and it completely closes in winter. But no, where we're going, Salzburg will be fine. That's on the Autobahn. Although it's not unlimited speed, I think it's 130 speed limited. And we're going to go to Holstadt, which is amazing. It's an amazing little village it sort of clings to the side of a hill, and then right next to it, it's bordered by a lake. It's very, very pretty. And just near there's a salt mine, an old salt mine, which will be kind of interesting.
Lake's probably frozen over. They've probably got ice cap on it, have they?
Not sure yet. I think that usually happens later. You know, I think in Europe, just like in Australia, the winter really happens mainly in middle of January and late January and or early February. That's when it reaches its peak. A bit like Australia, you know, you get the hottest days in Late January. But anyway.
Although our summers have been getting later and later in the season, the hot part of the summers.
Yeah, absolutely. But there you go. Cool. All right. So, got any other topics or anything to talk about? It's about 10:10. I'm happy to rock on because I've got all afternoon and all night. So you guys will be dead asleep while I'm still rocking. We could almost have done a talk around the clock there, Pete, because I'm in the right zone.
Absolutely. I was thinking that last week when you were talking about it, but don't get any ideas. I'm not psyched up for that sort of tomfoolery.
Tell you what we could do one day is once all the aeroplanes have got Starlink service, so it's super reliable and fast internet, when one of us is doing a stupidity of, you know, being on a plane for 18 hours or whatever, you could do it then. That'd be an ideal opportunity.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm sure all the people next to you in the plane would love you. But you'd have to fly first class and have your own cabin.
We can book a soundproof booth.
Very good.
That's it. Yeah, absolutely. To tell you what, that's just incidentally. Oh, go, Pete.
No, it was inappropriate.
Okay. No, that's cool. That's all right. I think I can read your mind. But tell you what, there's a huge difference between the A380 sound levels inside and the 777. 777 was like a classic noisy plane, and the A380 is just quiet, just amazing. Which I don't know if we mentioned it last time, but I believe the crew. I did see a video where the crew rest, which is actually underneath. It's in the cargo section, so it's underneath the economy class passenger deck. They actually had to introduce white noise generators because it was so quiet that the people, the crew couldn't sleep because they could hear the economy class passengers talking and whatever, chatting and stuff. So they had to actually have speakers with white noise because the plane otherwise is so quiet to drown out the talking of the passengers.
Yep. Business class Singapore Airlines had like the headphones they give you. It's just amazing how it just wipes out all the noise.
Yeah, but you can't sleep on them. If you lay on your side, you can't with those big cans. You need the in-ear jobs, and they're harder to get. I used to have Bose in-ear ones where you had like a little separate black controller that had the actual electronics and the battery to do the noise cancelling. Now I've actually got in-ear buds, Bose ones, but you can't, unless you've got like a really soft pillow, you can't lay on it because it just hurts your ear.
Yep.
But, I mean, that's a first world problem, obviously.
So I've got a question on charging, Harold, if you're up to it.
Yeah, of course.
Since I've had the car, basically when I'm charging, doesn't do it all the time, but just say I dial it into 90% to stop charging, which is my daily, what I do anyway. Sometimes it'll go to like 92 or 88, 89, and then stop charging, or 91, 92, then charging complete. And then tonight I dialed in 70 because I just wanted to chuck a little bit in, because that's all I'm going to need for the next few days. And it stopped at 66. Is that something I should be concerned about?
Oh, I don't think you should be concerned about it. What I've seen in now, so bearing in mind for anyone watching or listening in, Domo's saying 90% because he's got a performance Model 3, and that has the NCA, the nickel, cadmium, aluminium chemistry, and they routinely should only, inverted commas, be charged to 90%. But if you've got any of the Model Ys currently, or if you watch this video, in a year's time and we've got long range Model Ys, if you look on your car and you see on the charging, I'll just bring this up just for completeness, Domo, because it's important that everyone knows why you're actually charging at 90%. Because many other cars you can and should charge to 100%. So if you look at the charging screen, which I'll just bring up in a moment, it goes a bit like this. So you can see here it says 50% to 100%. What it lacks are the words which are normally here daily and then here trip. And what that indicates is that if you're doing a trip, yes, you can charge 100%, but you should only charge to 90% or less. But in Damo's case, again, he's got a NCA battery. The other one I'm referring to is a LFP, lithium iron phosphate, and you can charge to 100%. So Damo, getting back to your original thing, I've actually seen my cars, I've set it to 90%. And what I think is happening is the car was cold, the battery was cold when it was charging because it's charging at a fairly low rate, and it stops at 90%, but you can sort of get it where it actually warms up, and when it warms up it sort of has more apparent capacity, so then it can show 91 or 92%. Now when it goes the other way, it can be the opposite case, whereby when it was charging it was hot, because perhaps you just plugged it in just when you got home and it was already quite warm, but it didn't have a lot to charge, so it was charging while the battery was quite warm, gets to 90%, and then stops charging. But then you might look at it in the morning when it's like a cool night or something like that, and it's cooled down a bit and it's lost a little bit of apparent capacity. It doesn't actually lose real capacity, it's just the capacity that's available at that temperature or visible at that temperature. And that's where it could explain where you might be a couple of percent under, presuming you haven't got Sentry mode on. Because obviously, as we've explained many times, Sentry mode can use up to 10% of your car's battery pack in 24 hours.
At home, so
it'd be off. On. Yeah, exactly. But it could just be the difference in temperature.
I'll plug it back in a minute, actually, because that was as soon as I got home.
Yep.
And I only went from 50. I was on 54%, and I only dialed it into 70.
Yeah.
So I only needed to put 16% in.
Yeah.
Wasn't charging for very long.
No. So these things can happen, and it's not like there's anything wrong with the battery pack or anything really wrong with the car. I've observed in my cars very similar behavior, Damo, where and look, I think that can sometimes change with software version as well, because Tesla seems to be playing around with the CAN bus and playing around with different subsystems, and also it might have to do with your battery calibration. So again, in the performance cars which have the NCAs, which you should only routinely charge to 90, it does help to occasionally charge them to 100% so that the battery management system can balance all the cells and get a better gauge of its full capacity. So that can sometimes affect it as well, where it sort of thinks that it's at 90%, but it later changes its mind because it's not fully calibrated in all the time.
Damo, it's a similar concept to how when Harold and I were driving around the country, when we'd start really early in the morning, it'd be saying, we'd get to the destination with -2 or -3%. But then as the day warmed up, that -2, yes, there's other factors and other variables as well, depending on how fast you drive versus how fast, the car was expecting you to drive. But all else remaining equal, that -2% will slowly creep up to, 0, 1, +2, +3% as the temperature warms up during the day.
Yeah, all right. I'll plug it in soon and see if I can. It'll go to 70. Now it's had a while to sit there and chill.
Yeah, I think it will, Damo. I think you'll be fine. Like I said, I've observed this in my cars several times, and it's not like there's an underlying issue. It just might be a bit of an idiosyncrasy every now and then. So it should be okay.
Yep. Roger, thanks for that, Harold and Pete.
Cool, no worries. All right. Anyone else got any other little questions? Or I see Richard's on the move. No, he's just adjusting himself.
Harold, so did you say Model Y should charge to 100%?
Oh yes. So your Model Y is a standard range, because currently in Western Australia they are all standard range Model Ys. And in fact, what you'll see, I think if it's on your app or if it's in your car and you do set, actually I notice it on the app, because obviously I've got 2 Model Ys. Well, I've got one, my wife has one, and they're currently parked in the garage in Perth, obviously. And I've put one on a Type 2 charger and the other one on a UMC. And I kind of thought, I might just, I waited for them to get to 100%. And then when I got to Austria, I turned it down to 90%. But what I noticed is you actually get like this little information thing on your phone where it says, in fact, I'll try it now. Oh, no, I can't because I've changed accounts. But it basically says something like, Tesla recommends for better health of the battery or more accurate reading or something like that. It recommends that you set your slider to 100% and charge it to 100% at least once a week. So I then actually decided to do what Tesla said and just put the slider back up to 100%. So those 2 cars will be at 100% effectively for the whole time that I'm away.
So I just plugged it back in,
Harold,
and it's saying it's still on 66%, and it started charging again, and it says 15 minutes at 12 kilowatts.
Yeah, so it'll get to 70%, Damo. So getting back, so is your name Ake? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no worries, Ake. So Ake, so your car, you absolutely should set your slider to 100% and leave it and forget it. So you don't have to charge every day, but again, you certainly can.
I've got the wall connector.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So
it's a single phase.
Yep, that's totally fine. Yep. So it doesn't matter what
do you put? 16 amp or
no. So you've got a wall connector that's been installed by an electrician. So if it's single phase, it's probably providing 32 amps. So when you charge your car, it'll probably say something like 50 kilometers an hour charging, approximately 50, 55, something like that while it's charging.
Oh, I think it's saying like it's charging 7 kilowatt hour.
Yes.
7 kilowatts, sorry. 7
kilowatts. But if you change your display to distance rather than percentage, I think it'll then change to kilometers per hour. Okay.
No, I prefer the 7 kilowatts. No. That's fine.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. So it's charging at 7 kilowatts, and you should absolutely change your slider from 90% or whatever it is to 100%, and that is healthy for the car. We actually got direct advice from Tesla. The club did, from Tesla, from the technical department, saying that it is healthy that you just set the slider to 100% and just leave it at that. And it doesn't matter if you park your car for days and days at 100%. It won't always be continually charging. It'll get to 100, and then there's a bit of a hysteresis. It'll go down to perhaps 98. So you might see it sag to 98 over a day or two or whatever it is. And then every now and then at some random time, it'll decide to resume charging back to 100%. And you can just leave it like that for forever because you have the LFP, the lithium iron phosphate battery chemistry. And like I said, Tesla specifically recommends you just leave the slider to 100%. There's no need at all to ever have it less than that for any reason, really.
Yeah.
I've
got another question.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely.
The glove box.
Yes.
All right. It's any other easier way to open it other than pressing the screen?
The short answer is
scroll wheel and say open glove box.
Yep. So it's
So the short answer is no. If you're saying if there's a button or whatever, the only button is when you go into the menu. We go into the menu, main menu, and you'll see the default first main menu is your controls, which varies depending on what mode your car is in. But you'll always see glove box here, right? So if you press that, the glove box will open. But and as Pete says, you can do a voice command, press the right hand scroll wheel, and just say open glove box
on YouTube. Yep, that's
Yep.
but those are the two ways I know. But it's just the wife, or the kids just want to open it.
Okay. Well, then have I got a sales proposition for you? So there is another method which is not a Tesla standard method, and that is to buy what's called. Sorry.
But it's a sexy method.
It is a sexy method. And the reason it's a sexy method is if you Google sexy buttons, which is S3XY buttons, there's a company called ENH Auto. I think it's probably short for Enhanced Auto, something like that. And they have what are called sexy buttons. And what that is you put a dongle into your CAN bus. So in your center console, the back part of your center console, there's a panel that's in the footwell of the second row seats or the back seats, and you basically pull apart this wiring loom. You put in a patch lead, and then you connect this dongle into it, and then sexy buttons. They are little remote control buttons that have like self-adhesive that you can stick onto wherever any different object. So you can get a sexy button, which will then and you can then press the sexy button, and you can actually mount it on your glove box. So it's like the old-fashioned button on the glove box, and then that will open your glove box. So
how much does that cost?
It's about $300. Now you're going to tell me that that's expensive and you can't afford it. Now I'm going to argue that you can't afford not to get it, because one of the killer and you get 4 buttons. And don't worry about whether you pick black buttons or white buttons, because they actually give you both sets. So they actually give you like a surround, which is either black. Well, they have 4 surrounds that are black and 4 surrounds that are white. So don't get caught up in knots about picking the correct black or white surrounds, because they're the same, and they cost the same. But one of the killer apps, well beyond keeping a wife happy with the glove box, is the fact that you can automatically suppress, which is the bane of our existence. There's 2 banes actually, and I've just noticed, because in Vienna there's a bit of schmutz around, as Bjorn would say, like you get dirty windscreens, and my car just on like this little section of highway just puts its wiper on. It's a clear day and it just puts the wiper on, and I've got to keep wasting fluid to try and stop it. So when you use autopilot, one of the first pains is you have automatic high beams at night. Actually, they're automatic in the daytime as well, but they properly don't work in the daytime. But it will suppress auto high beams when you engage autopilot or cruise control. They will also now suppress auto wipers, which is a killer app. It's an absolute killer app at the moment. Now, there is a disclaimer that it might come to pass that eventually Tesla might have an option of killing it as well. Like they may conclude that it's okay to not have auto high beams and not have auto wipers, and what the car may do is if you don't have them on auto and it can't see properly, it might just give you a warning and disengage. But at the moment, their policy is mandatory auto high beams, mandatory auto wipers when you're in autopilot or cruise control. The fourth feature that the Sexy Buttons has is if you're interested in looking at the CAN bus data, and particularly
There's
if you
a
have
two-button version. There's a
there's a two button slightly cheaper. That's right. Now, the fourth application that's useful is you can use the Sexy Button dongle as a Wi-Fi source for CAN bus data, which you can use on an app called Scan My Tesla. And in particular, if you have an iPhone, iPhones are really picky on dongles, on Bluetooth dongles. So the Sexy Button works really, really well on iPhones. So if you're unfortunate enough to have an iPhone like I do, and many of us do, the Sexy Buttons, you basically get the dongle for free. So then you can download Scan My Tesla, and you can then look at battery temperatures, lots of interesting CAN bus data, battery voltages, blah, blah, which can be interesting. So yes, Sexy Buttons are expensive, but they have multiple uses. And with time, they'll have more and more features. So I'm just saying, and of course, this segment is not sponsored by Sexy Buttons, but it is a great product for what it does. But just opening the glove box, no, it's not worth $300 to open the glove box. But if you combine it with the other features, it is pretty good.
Yeah.
Harold, while we're on the the OBD, I've went down to Dunsborough day before yesterday and pulled up my Scan My Tesla, went to Bluetooth settings and made sure it was connected and everything, restarted the app, and it said connected under my Bluetooth settings, but Scan My Tesla just kept on looking for the modules and just would start up.
And that's a great point, Pete. And those Bluetooth dongles work particularly badly in my experience. They I've had a lot of frustrations. I know someone I know actually resorts to unplugging his dongle and putting it back in. I often resort to just disconnecting. So you go into your Bluetooth settings, don't turn Bluetooth off because that's a pain because everything then turns off, but just go to that dongle, which is the MX, I forget what it's called, something MX dongle, which for and bearing in mind for an iPhone, that dongle is expensive. It's well over $100, I think.
It was not even more. Yeah, it wasn't cheap.
Yeah, or maybe it's 150 or something. So again, even though Sexy Buttons is $300 or ish, you're sort of getting a free dongle, to the value of. And the Bluetooth for iPhones is just frustrating. It really is just frustrating. Whereas if you get the Wi-Fi dongle, it's some special mode of Wi-Fi where there's no internet on it, obviously, but it's called a certain mode. Ken, if he was on, he'd be able to explain it. But basically, the phone knows that it's not Wi-Fi for the purpose of internet, so therefore it still happily uses your GSM mobile signal as the internet source, but connects via Wi-Fi to do data of a certain type. So, and I found it to be rock solid. The only disadvantage is if you're at home, your phone may stay connected to the car's dongle, in which case you're not getting Wi-Fi from your modem, if that's a thing. But look, most people's phone plans have unlimited data anyway, so it's not a biggie. But yeah, there you go. So that was a very, very long answer to the term. Yes, there is a third alternative to opening the glove box, but it's opening the glove box with options, with extras. It's with benefits. It's a glove box opener with benefits. So there you go. And I'm sure that's the first time that Enhance Auto has ever heard that term ever said about their Sexy Buttons. Glove box with benefits.
So where do you get the Wi-Fi version? Is it through?
No. That is what the Sexy Buttons is.
That's the Wi-Fi one.
So the way yes, it is. It's in fact it's only white. I don't know if it is actually only Wi-Fi. It might have a Bluetooth aspect as well, but there's a setting where you can go have it compatible with, or turning on Wi-Fi and compatible with Scan My Tesla. It's just a software switch in the in the control thing of the dongle, because it comes with its own app. Yeah, so that's how it works. Apologies if you see my my green screen is fading because it's getting dark. It's actually getting quite dull. Oh, well, it doesn't really show it, but it's getting a bit dull because it's actually local time here is 3:30, and oops, just adjust this a bit better. It's 3:30, and the sun goes down at 4. So in less than half an hour, the sun will be below the horizon. Although it's overcast, so it'll be a little bit light. But yeah, I'm still losing the light because behind me on the green screen, it's just dull. There's a light behind me, but yeah, it's quite dull. I'm only relying on outside light, actually, just natural light, because I haven't gone to Obi to get a pedestal light or anything. But anyway, so there you go. Anything else maybe for semi-last drinks, because it is getting a bit on in time. Oh yes, go Damo.
Sorry about that. So it's just stopped now, actually, at 70%. So yeah, you were spot on.
Awesome.
And one other thing, my cons cable, more often than not, is charging at 12 kilowatt. And when I'm on the UMC with the 5-pin tail, that's charging at 8 kilowatt. Is that something I should be concerned about? Like, is the inverter in the car have a problem?
No. So what it is the car will draw, so on the cons 3-phase, it will draw 16 amps 3-phase. Now, the actual power measurement is simply the multiplication of volts times current. So it is very common to have higher voltage than the 240 volts standard. You can have 240, you can have up to 250 volts actually. So so it's simply the fact that at 16 amps times, let's say 245 volts, you'll times 3. Anyone who are electronics engineers, well, I am one myself, but if you're an electrical engineer, you'll probably be yelling at me saying, no, you call it 415. But it's just a different way of talking about the same thing. But if you just get 240 times 3 times 16, that is roughly 11 point something kilowatts. But if it's a higher voltage, it'll be more, up to 12 kilowatts. And if it's a low voltage, it can be as low as 222 or 220 volts.
Okay.
It'll be less.
It just rounds up or down. So 240 times 16 times 3 is about 11.52. So it's just a little bit over 11.5. So it just rounds up to 12. And when the voltage is a bit lower, it's just underneath 11.5. So it rounds down to 11.
Yeah, it's like a class. It's a class of voltage. And in fact, you get the 11 kilowatts at 229 volts on the nose. So it's just a class. Same as, the 7 kilowatt, people say 7 kilowatt. Well, technically at 240 volts, it's 7.6, but, you just say 7 or, whatever. It's an approximation. But the fact that it's slightly different, Damo, is not at all an issue. It literally, and if you have the car will actually tell you a voltage, but I think it might be a bit of an average of the 3 phases. Because it has to pick one voltage. Although there are technically 3. And I mean, look, if you've got a solar inverter, and you look on the on the website of the inverter, it'll tell you the phase voltage of each phase, and they can be quite different because there's imbalances. So no, it's all good, Damo. It's totally normal.
Copy that. Thanks, Harold. Cheers, Pete.
Thanks, no worries.
No.
All right. Anything else that we haven't kicked off on or rounded out? Pete, you got anything for us?
No. What was I going to? No, that's about it.
All right. Well, perhaps. And Richard, you're all good. Carmen, you're all good.
Yes, I had a question about the update, but I can't remember what it was, so I have to write it down the next time.
Sorry, Carmen.
Yeah. No, that's all good, Damo, and that's a good Carmen. Yeah, by all means. Well, actually, no, that's a great segue. For anyone that's watching on YouTube, please, if you've got any questions, put them in the comments, and that's only because it makes the algorithm push the needle slightly. But put any questions you have in the comments, and then I'll promise to get Nigel to remind me to read them out and ask them live on air. So that'll be useful. And Carmen, you could even do that, or and then even if you've forgotten what the question was, then just tell me to have a look at the comments on YouTube, and that'll certainly be useful.
Will do for sure. You have a wonderful time.
Oh, thank you. I certainly will. I intend to, and in between a little bit of work that I've got to do here as well. But it's all good. But yes, I'm going to.
Harold, you deserve it, man.
Yeah, no worries, and I'm going to keep getting Pete all upset about all the mulled wine and hefeweizen and goulash and sauerkraut and all that stuff. But anyway, it's all good.
I used to think that sausages were as good as they make out.
Oh, I love them. Anyway, I'm just, and in fact, Pete, it's approaching. It's 20 to 4 in the afternoon, so maybe an hour of time we might go to the Christmas markets and just get some more mulled wine into us and hearty snacks and all that sort of stuff. My stomach's getting all a bit hungry at the moment. So while you're sleeping, you can be dreaming of all the food and drink that I'll be having tonight.
In Salisbury, you'll probably have your tea with rum or rum with tea, depending on.
The only thing I can't get is absolutely the only thing I can't get, which I'm really missing, is a Italian ice creamery called Tiki, and it's an Italian gentleman that came to Vienna in 1956, I believe. Anyway, they're closed for winter because strangely people don't eat ice cream in winter. I don't know what's wrong with them, but they have this hazelnut ice cream which is just literally to die for. It is just. It's not just hazelnut flavored ice cream. It's got ground hazelnuts in it. It's just amazing. And it comes in like a fish bowl. Like it's I don't even know how many scoops it equates to. It's very, very generous, and it's just amazing.
The tennis club where I used to play when I was younger, literally only about 50 meters down the road, they had this ice creamery. It was called The Hole. Don't ask me why. But that had...
It's where you put your ice cream in your hole. That's right.
But they had hazelnut ice cream, and it was exactly like that. It was ground up hazelnuts.
Yep.
And it was just to absolutely die for. It was the best flavour.
It's like a beige color, I guess you describe it, beigey sort of. And in German it's Haselnuss, and it's just to die for. But I won't be dying this trip. It'll have to wait till a summer trip. But anyway, all right. So on that great note, and quite yummy note, that was our dessert, really, I guess, for this show. Pete, how would you round out this awesome 121st episode of TOCWA's Ask Us Anything?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
Best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join TOCWA, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy.
And making the future awesome.
All right. Good night, everyone. Good afternoon to me.
Great meeting, everyone.
Thank you.
And we'll
Really
see you
good
next
meeting.
week.
Good night.
No worries. We'll see you next week on Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
I'll watch the beginning tomorrow.
Very
Bye.
good. Good night, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you guys.